Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner. Sean's here.
Hello.
James Farley's here.
Hello.
Matt Murray is here.
I am. Hello.
Hello. How are we all doing? We all good?
You sound a little bit flat, Dave, I'll be honest. You're right.
It's always hard to do these on a bank holiday, especially a special bank holiday where we're just doing like a surprise bank holiday.
Feeling a bit rough about
well, you just
today's
kind
events.
of think, actually, I've just sat about in my pants all day playing video games.
Well, because everything's fucking shot.
Yourself.
Everything's shot. It's just been like, oh great, I've just got to entertain a 4-year-old when I can't do any of the things he wants to do. Brilliant.
Yeah, I know. I mean, what were you going to do today? You weren't going to do anything anyway, were you?
Yeah, I'd have taken in the ice cream farm or something. Been all right.
Oh, right, okay. But the ice cream farm?
Yeah, we've got an ice cream farm, mate.
So they grow it, Dave.
They grow?
They grow it. Yeah.
I've always wondered how they do ice cream.
Yeah, it just grows out of the ground.
Flavors?
You never seen ice cream seeds? You just
I haven't.
chuck them on the ground, bit of water, a couple of days.
It's in Animal Crossing. That's the first thing that comes to
Oh, it is,
mind.
mate. It is with the new update. It was. It's all there.
Oh, was it? Oh, yeah. I'd stopped. I'd nuked my
later.
island by then. We would like to start the show by thanking our Patreon producers this month. They are Aaron Patrick, the QuickBooks chap, Simon Nelson, Jack Oven, Moomin Biscuit, Trans Rights to Human Rights, Dave Ernsberger, Colin Brown, Gazman, Gabsy, Rocketman76, Rex Reese, Grey Dragon Claw, Fred Fenge, Smooth Monkey, Dong Whiskerando, Colin Smith, Richard Sawyer, Jonathan Edwards, and Tom S. Is
back.
Thomas returning? That's a
Yeah,
returning
yes,
one,
a
right?
brand new full nails, but returning full nails.
Unbelievable. Welcome back, Tom S. I welcome you back with open arms. A great big hug. You can help support the show by going to patreon.com/TCGS. All sorts of tiers. You get bonus content like the podcast and that. Le Tournoi wrapped up this week. Oh, you get to find out who the winner of the Tournoi was, and also watch a quite tense game of poker, I think it's fair to say.
Incredibly tense.
I didn't expect it. I mean, most of you are amateurs. I know Matt's played a few times before. James, I've taught you how to play. Sean's a novice. I was surprised by how tense it got. Real sort of the poker goes out the window and trying to suss each other out was definitely part of it. And
It was great. I think we all got to grips with it much quicker than I thought we would do.
Really? Because I think you were both asking me questions you'd asked me about 80 times that night, and it was getting a bit much for me. I think.
Yeah, there was a bit of that.
Yeah.
Well, that's the beauty of poker, though, isn't it? Like on paper, it's not actually that complex.
He's a pistol.
Yeah, it's just the people you play it with and knowing them and yeah.
Oh right, that was the end of the sentence. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
I thought you just mine just wandered towards the end then and sort of just thought of something.
Well, I was like,
no.
well, Dave actually knows about poker. He's going to pick this up. He's going to pick it up any second now. He's going to carry on. He's going to finish my point for me.
Yep, just doing being late.
But no, really good. Really good night. I really enjoyed that. So definitely check that out. That's on the £8.50 tier, I think.
Plus local
It is,
taxes.
Yep. Still is.
Lovely.
Yep.
Lovely.
Same movie.
Whack it on that. You can watch it right now. Of course, Marvel Calls is still rolling on. That's for the £4.50 tier. You get to hear this week. You get to hear the Guardians of the Galaxy episode. That's a good one. And it, James, that is a good one.
It's one of our longer ones, isn't it? I think
It is one of our longer ones, and we are getting absolute shit at the moment. We're getting absolutely bombarded about our Marvel Calls series. It's been... You've had to do your pin tweet finally.
I did, yeah. I tried to cover several things in the pin tweet, that have been sort of bubbling along under the surface for the last couple of weeks, and yeah.
Oh my God! I've just realised we got a lot of shit for the Captain America Winter Soldier episode, and that's not even out to the general public yet. So
it's going to become you can't do more than one pin tweet, can you?
No, sadly not.
You can do a thread.
Yeah, you
can pin a thread.
Yeah.
It's just a tweet. So just thread the tweet.
Okay,
yeah, just thread that tweet, boy. All you got to do is thread that tweet.
Thread the tweet.
I'll thread it.
You just got to thread the tweet, James.
I'll thread it.
Okay, well you thread that.
I'll fucking thread it. All right.
You should.
Okay. All right. Speaking of the listeners, Matt, they'll love it last week, did they?
No, we actually got a lot of hate mail, but I'm not
Okay.
now on the
All right.
pod. Ryan Cobain. Dear TCGS, first time contacting, I'd like to say thanks for the weekly podcast, streams, Discord, and Patreon content. Aren't the Microsoft rewards and the associated dopamine rush. Just Matt's Power Wash Simulator replacement. Keep up the stellar work. Fine.
I mean, that's a reach. That's reaching.
I'd say that's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
I think the only difference between the two is that I sort of highlighted how stupid it was and sort of didn't defend what I was doing with Power Wash Simulator, whereas Matt constantly defends what he's doing by. Also, it doesn't cost me any money. That one didn't cost me any money. Matt, we found out it cost him quite a bit of money to get that keyboard in the end.
For things he didn't want.
I'd love to know a full rundown of those movies that he bought. I'd love it.
I'll have a look. And take
no,
a
you
picture.
won't, because I won't believe you. Because you're like, oh, it turns out I only bought 3, and really,
No,
he's like hiding the receipts under his mattress.
I think it's I think it's like 3 lines of movies, however many get online on the Xbox. I don't know.
I beg your pardon.
I think it's 3 lines of movies if I look at my Xbox movie collection.
3 lines of movies.
Yeah, I don't
that's
know
all he's
how
giving
you're...
us. That's...
Yeah, that's... I don't even...
I don't go to
that
Xbox movies that often, so...
Do you mean it's like the way that the UI displays it is like that there's like...
Yeah.
So there's
How
3
big's
of those
your front
lines
room?
of
I was about 6 steps. What? It's about, it's 3 milk bottles worth. Okay? So, what's your problem?
I'm just talking about the UI.
Okay. It's a Power Sim though. I could probably we talked about Splatoon last week, and you said, there's certain levels that are like reverse Power Wash Sim, right?
Yeah.
I played them. They're not. Don't even get anywhere close to.
Not the same thing, is it? Although I will say, Dave, this week, Hard Space Shipbreaker is coming out on consoles, and in terms of like being like methodical as fuck and feeling weirdly good about having done a proper job. Yeah. If you don't like it, I'm going to be really upset.
Okay, fine. But also, there's 2 things. Firstly, this is like you turn around to Matt and saying, PlayStation are doing rewards now, Matt. Yeah, right. So that's the first thing. So that's evil, Sean, isn't it? What you're doing is enabling them.
It is. Yeah, but it's a good game.
And and the second thing is FIFA's coming out, and this is probably worse than Power Wash Sim. FIFA's out next Monday, right? And I hate it, and I know I'm going to hate it, and it's going to be rubbish. And we're all well aware that it's going to be terrible this year because it's the last FIFA, right? Yeah. So they're going to put all the effort into next year's one. So it's going to be a complete crash. I'm going to spend hundreds of hours on it, and I'm going to hate
100%. I'll be doing that. I'll be in career mode, and it'll.
But is that okay? I was going to say, but is that primarily like playing with mates? Because that's
for me, it is. Yes,
right.
We play pro clubs.
Well, that's more justifiable for Dave. James, not so much.
I take Gillingham or whatever to the Premier League.
James,
I regret.
Why don't you get involved with our pro clubs more? It's every night. It's fucking hilarious, and you get to have blue hair.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah, we get to have your haircut every game.
You get to have hair. Fucking hell, sign me up.
Blue hair savage cut. It's all good.
Right. Okay. Well, we'll see you on there next week then, because we're all going to be playing it. Right. Next.
What do you
mean no way? What's your
You've played a couple of times with us.
I said I'm going to be away.
Oh right. Okay. Go fuck yourself still. Right.
Amazing.
Kiryu's adopted son. Evening, chaps. I'm almost certain that James's breaking news at the end of last week's episode was, in fact, going to be an apology. Somehow the good doctor sensed Yakuza Ishin was going to be announced during last week's State of Play. He was about to preemptively apologise for insisting that this Yakuza title was never going to come to the West, but was interrupted. Well, James, now is your chance. Make all of us Yakuza fans proud.
Yeah, it was weird how that happened.
That was very weird, wasn't it? I mean, there's been plenty of times.
What happened?
So, well, there's obviously we've had loads of occasions where like something has happened in the news, and obviously it's happened on a Tuesday, so we've not been able to cover it, and it's like egg on our faces. But this is like a remake of Yakuza Ishin was announced when the day prior on the show it just came up randomly in feedback. Yeah. And there was
randomly.
We'd already said I said I don't think it's likely it's ever going to come out or anything like that.
Wait, hold on. Randomly, or did the person that emailed in know something?
No, because it was
very possible.
I think who was it? Was it Rect Reese or was it someone else?
No, Rect Reese was the one. Well, Rect Reese was the one that said I didn't mention the name of the episode title.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, yeah, no, it's someone. Okay,
we know for a fact that there's people that work in studios, right? That listen to this podcast. Okay. So when we record on the Monday. So if you're aware of something being announced on the Tuesday, how about you sneak in a little cheeky reference to it on the emails on that podcast before? Because I'd love that.
No,
I'd
'cause
love
now
that
we're
if that
gonna
was
get-
a reoccurring thing.
We're gonna get loads of smart asses doing it though.
Yeah, we'll get some smart asses doing it, but they'll be proven wrong.
Well, that's true.
But
Yeah.
you know,
Be
when
exposed.
Peter Molyneux gets in touch and says, "Well, I've been invited onto Fable," and then that gets announced on Tuesday, I've been
We won't read
invited
it
onto
to, like,
Fable.
other
Is that
Mr.
language?
I mean,
I
that's
don't
really unlikely. I mean, I think it's more likely to be like, what do you think of what's on the Cube 2?
Do you reckon Peter Molyneux, when the new Fable comes out, do you reckon Peter Molyneux is going to go full George Lucas and start hanging around the team that are working on it and just sort of saying, "I wouldn't have done it this way"?
Everyone's going, yeah, we know, Peter. We know.
Yeah, but did you see the fucking? It's exactly like George Lucas, isn't it? Because with George Lucas, you go, yeah, but the prequels were shit, mate. So I don't care what you would have done with these ones. We could say, yeah, well, Fable 3. What about that? Remember that? Remember that?
I do.
Shocking. Right, okay, go on.
Remember it? Right, Charles Windsor. 5 minutes of chat about Yves Guillemot's.
Gimons.
Charles Windsor. 5 minutes of chat about Yves Guillemot's bullshit statement, followed by 20 minutes, yes, I checked, of what amounted to an extended PR piece for Ubisoft's upcoming games. Come on, guys. They have had literal years to sort this shit out, and they've done nothing. We need outlets like yourselves to stop covering their games. I know it may seem like you will not make a difference because you only have a small audience, but a refusal of coverage sends a real message that this shit will not be tolerated. It puts in people's minds, and it stays there. You have a voice that people listen to. Help bring about the change that you say you want to see. P.S. What do you think about Peggle? I've been told that my oldest boy loves it.
Yeah, Peggle's amazing. I don't know what to say.
Did
really.
no one get that joke?
Oh yeah, I got it.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
What's the no? Go on.
It's
I've been told
Prince
my
of
oldest
Pegging.
boy.
It's about the Prince of
loves
Pegging. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what to say really. We're going to cover their games because they're part of the industry. They come out and we're going to cover them. I'd like to think when we talk about their games and their marketing material that we're not acting as a mouthpiece for their PR, because I don't think we are. We can be
This
quite
was
critical and judgmental with it.
That was my first thought on reading this was like, okay, I mean, if it was 20 minutes, they say they checked, that does sound like a lot, but I don't recall any of us being
Positive
like excited about any of it. Yeah.
I was super up for another Assassin's Creed, Sean.
Were you?
I mean, I was really excited.
I was going to say the enthusiasm was just flying out of you, James.
I think the bar for approaching moral issues like this is seen differently by different people, which is understandable. And all I'll say is that I'm happy where we've set the bar, where we will constantly mention the problems that Ubisoft have faced and how they haven't addressed them. But also, I think making the stance of saying we're not going to cover their games anymore is going to be a little bit, of a problem when you look at, say, for example, Activision or Nintendo or Sony or Microsoft, who have all had their own separate accounts of problems within their businesses. So do we say, okay, we don't cover them? Where's the line? And I don't know if I'm comfortable drawing that line. It's a strange one. I think covering games the way we do is fine, and we're going to keep doing that. Like, that's not going to change. I don't think we're ever going to stop talking about the problems that that's being brought out from the industry. So
I think like personally, I'm okay with the compromise of we may talk about their games, but we will also not stop talking about the latest on how they're actually making progress. Which, I mean, and again, Mr. Windsor, King, whatever you want to call him, says they've had years and they've done nothing. That's not. I understand they're probably just emphasizing, overemphasizing to make a point, but they have done. There has been some progress. There probably should have been more, 100%. They probably could have done more by now.
There should have been way more.
Yeah.
And as we said last week, it shouldn't be coming from. It shouldn't be coming from the top.
It shouldn't be a press release and an interview with the CEO going, "Look, everything's better now."
But we will always point that out. We will always point that out. And if we're not on your moral compass, if we're not sort of lining up with your views, and you see a problem with that, I'm sorry. I can apologise and say, well, then maybe don't listen. But that's our stance. That's the way we look at it, and some people agree with that, and some people won't.
I mean, for the sake of balance, we haven't included it. We did get some other feedback basically saying, why do you keep talking about this stuff? Can't you just talk about the games?
That's true, actually. I forgot about that. Yeah. Can you stop being so negative about the negative things in the industry? No, we're not going to do that either. So never listen to the listeners.
Rex Reese, dear TCG Pastry, fair play. I must have misheard James Newsman. However, I'm still sure that
Not about that.
Verbatim.
Sorry, Matt. I've just remembered the James Newsman thing.
Yale said, however, I'm still sure that intense crowd wasn't said verbatim. Also, a variation on the tent joke that works a bit better. I think it was a dad joke tweet at some point. Have you ever had sex on a camping trip? It's fucking intense. You did indeed expose me there, but I can't help but notice you left out the second part of my question, which might have exposed you a little bit, Matt. Either way, love you all. Thanks for continuing to live it naturally.
Now, let me jump on this. It varies week to week, but on this occasion, it was me that copied and pasted everything into the doc. I can't remember what the second half of that was, but I've obviously taken it out for brevity. And now has made it look like Matt might have taken it out to save his own ass.
I'm fascinated to know what the question was, though.
Yeah, I can't remember, and obviously it's gone from the doc.
No, it's not. So. We could do rollback on the sheet.
Yeah, we can get it back.
Oh, can we? Can we do that?
We can roll that back, boy.
Let's do it.
Thanks.
We won't.
We'd have to roll back through all the abuse we've received, and so it's going to be a tough one.
Yeah. True.
Not that I have to explain myself for fuck's sake, but the intense crowd thing. It was just intense crowd was like a nice way to, as like an overview of the pod. I wasn't going to repeat the joke.
Matt, you're absolutely. I like that. A little bit of fire from you there. I want to see more of that. You're absolutely right. You don't have to explain yourself to anyone. Fuck you. I would say do two fingers up to the camera, but I know people get.
Reese is a producer. I'm just saying. I know that doesn't necessarily.
On
Matt,
paper, can you fucking sort this out, then, please?
On paper, being a producer doesn't get you preferential treatment, but obviously there is an implied threat there if we upset you.
Paid a lot of money, sure.
Exactly.
Is that it for the feedback?
Yeah. If you go to tcgs.co/dear TCGS to leave your feedback.
Right, if you love James Farley, and who the fuck doesn't, then you're in for a treat this week, because there is a plethora, is that the right word?
It's been a big week.
Of news. There's quite a bit of news, and we haven't played many games. So we've got an hour and a half penciled in for this, James. Away you go.
There is. This took me ages to do all this today.
I'd love it if a news story started like that. If the news started like that. This took me fucking ages.
It took ages. You should see the amount of notes I've got written down here. And then you know that there's going to be something I've missed or something, and then you'll be digging me out about it, and it's just.
Imagine Paxman saying that.
You're going to be digging me out.
You're going to have a go at me, and I can't be asked.
If there's something on this, something about the Queen, is it? Go on.
Anyway, so one of the biggest things that's happened over the last couple of days is that over 90 GTA 6 videos and screenshots have. I mean, it says allegedly leaked online, but we now know for certain.
Confirmed it. Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously it's unfinished, but it gives a look at the protagonists, the open world, and the combat. There's 7 minutes worth of footage if you look at it all back, all together.
Is that it? 7?
Yeah, it's just that there's lots of short clips and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
And it seems that the game is set in Vice City with a female and a male protagonist that are called Lucia and Jason. Then Jason Schreier confirmed that this is real. This is actually happened. And then the person that leaked it was taking requests to look at the source code for GTA 5 and GTA 6, and then apparently they also said they wanted to negotiate a deal with Rockstar or Take-Two Interactive.
A bit late for that.
I don't know what they're expecting from that.
Well, I'm assuming there's a lot more stuff they can share. Probably. That's the implication there, isn't it?
Today, not just before we recorded, but this afternoon, Rockstar put out a statement over this. Do you want me to read it?
Yeah. No, actually, just don't read it. What? Why would we not want you to read it?
Out of courtesy, I'm just asking if you want me to read it or not.
Yes, we would like you to read it, please.
Okay. A message from Rockstar Games. We recently suffered a network intrusion in which an unauthorized third party illegally accessed and downloaded confidential information from our systems, including early development footage for the next Grand Theft Auto. At this time, we do not anticipate any disruption to our live game services, nor any long-term effect on the development of our ongoing projects. We are sorry. No, it's
You're right.
There, James.
Well, because as I was speaking, I was
Yeah.
taking in rather more air than I realised as I was speaking,
How do you
and then
do
it
that?
kind of built up.
Again, a
I don't
famous
know.
Paxman move.
James is
didn't-
an alien. you can intake breath while
No, I was like
talking.
breathing in too much as I was speaking.
Yeah, how is that possible?
I
You can
don't know.
breathe and talk at the same time.
No, like when you get to the end of a sentence and you take a breath, and then I sort of went like that, and then it was like too much.
Okay, now can I ask you why you muted your mic?
I haven't muted my mic.
You did between that bit, didn't you?
No,
I don't know. I think you did. I mean, people in the chat
I
saying that you
absolutely
farted.
did not. I absolutely did not. It's
Okay.
just it was a bit
Alright.
of that.
I reckon he farted, Sean.
Yeah, probably.
Definitely. Well, it's
Well-
less. It's significantly less than the usual 3 hours. So
God.
Anyway, we are extremely disappointed to have any details of our next game shared with you all in this way. Our work on the next Grand Theft Auto game will continue as planned, and we remain as committed as ever to delivering an experience to you, our players, that truly exceeds your expectations. We will update everyone again soon, and of course, we'll properly introduce you to this next game when it is ready. We want to thank everyone for their ongoing support through this situation. The Rockstar Games team.
Okay. I mean, did you see any of it? I watched a bit of it.
I mean, I
Yeah,
did,
I
but
watched
again,
it.
but for the reasons we'll get into, there's not really much point talking about what we've seen, right?
Well, no. I mean, okay, right. So do you want me to just do my take on it? Because
Go on.
I just sat there and I was looking at some of the shit that was being said on Twitter, and you should never, in the same way as you shouldn't judge this footage, I shouldn't judge people on Twitter, because I was sitting there raging because you had two sides of the camp. You had a few people. I'm not mentioning any names. They know they are. But a few people saying, "Well, this doesn't look good. This doesn't look even as good as GTA 5." And I'm sitting there going, are you a fuck? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm legitimate people saying that. And I'm
Yeah,
going,
people who should really know better. It was very strange to see.
You do
Yeah.
not look at this and think like this is in any way representative of what we're going to get in a GTA 6. It was mad. It was madness, right? And then on the flip side, you had people clambering over each other to say, you should all really think about the devs and how hard this is for the devs. Yeah, we know. Sorry, you haven't surprised people by telling them that the devs will be upset that this content is out there. This is not like big news that you're breaking to us. We don't need to hear you turn around and go, guys, think about the devs. Yeah, think about all the devs. Yeah, we know, but if you're like me, right, here's the thing. Here's the other thing that I heard online that got me angry, is when a few people were saying, it's really, really big shame that this is the way we're going to see GTA 6. Like, this is our first look at GTA 6. And I looked at that stuff and said, this is not our first look at GTA 6. We are going to get an incredible trailer. We're going to get loads of information. It's going to be brilliant. All of this is so early. There's text all over the screen as the people are walking about. Clearly placeholder stuff everywhere. Like, even I would say the main characters, the side characters, the voice acting, I'm sure that's all placeholder stuff. I'm sure it's all complete, it's clearly devastating for Rockstar. They want to keep as much under wraps. I get why they would be upset. But I think people have to understand that no one's looking at this as the reveal of GTA 6. It's so far from
I think a lot of people, probably a vocal minority, but a significant number of people are like, oh my god, this looks terrible, and they think this is like representative.
Well, I think they are very much a minority, and when we get to see the game, they're going to shut the fuck up and realise how stupid they are, right?
Yeah.
There's also the fact that, you look at some of the stuff and you just think, this doesn't even... I don't know, man. I looked at that and I thought it was really interesting because we very rarely get to see a very big production like that before it's even out at this development stage, at this sort of stage in that way. We never get to see that. So it's interesting to see what is placeholder information, what is just nonsense assets that they've just chucked in for the time being, what is the animation like at this stage, what is the information that they're pumping out on screen while walking through. That stuff I find fascinating as a fan of video games and wanting to know, not like I will never be able to comprehend how video games are put together and developed, right? I just have not got that in me that it's so far above my IQ level that I'll never understand it. But seeing what they see gives you a little glimpse into what goes on and their interests at this stage in development. I just it's so strange to me that anyone would A, judge any of this, and B, consider it their first look at GTA 6, because it's so far from that to me that I just think, I don't even understand where you're coming from.
Especially because this is still at least probably 3 years off, isn't it?
That's exactly what I'm thinking. 2 to 3 years away, right?
And this is probably an old build, a couple of years old as well. So
it's crazy. And I think the way they obtain that information is disgraceful, obviously. Like it doesn't need to be said. I think that the way that they're trying to hold them to ransom and stuff is shitty, gross, obviously. But like in terms of the effect that this has on GTA 6 as a product, as a reveal, as as we will see it for the first time, I think this has a very minimal impact. And especially when you consider how many people actually watched the whole thing. Like, I watched a couple of bits, right? And James has already said way more than I took away from it. Oh, the characters' names are this. I didn't know that. We kind of knew it was from Vice City. We'd reported it on the show that it was set in Vice City, and that it had a female protagonist and all of that sort of stuff. So confirming stuff we kind of already knew, but even then, who gives a shit, man? Let's see the game when it's ready.
It was the other thing that amused me as well, and again, that this wasn't. I mean, it was common enough that I was seeing it from like strangers just by looking at replies to, tweets from like big news outlets and stuff. People being like, "Oh, this was leaked by a disgruntled employee because of the working conditions," and it's and you're like, yes, talk about the working conditions by all means. But you have made that up, or you've read it from somewhere that made it up, because that is not true. It was a hacker, and it's been confirmed it's the same guy that got Uber the other week.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to make stuff up to support the workers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's one of those where it's like, it's easy to highlight and form an opinion without adding lies and bollocks in there.
Yeah, exactly.
I've always hated that approach to arguing. And it's used a lot, especially politically. And you go, no, there's loads of legit shit they did that you can absolutely rip into. Don't try and twist words to make a point. You don't need to do that. That's the beauty of it. But it's weird, man. And I feel for the devs, but at the same time, it's not even close to being a reveal or any sort of indication of what we're getting. So,
and as you say, like when it is finally unveiled, what we've seen this week will be unrecognisable.
Oh God, yeah.
Like, it'll be.
I can't wait to do a comparison. To just see, like, even when the game's out and stuff. What I'm really surprised about is that footage is still out there. Especially when it first leaked, and the person that was leaking it was posted on YouTube videos. That lasted a long time. I don't even know if it's still up. It might still.
I mean, that must be.
Take-Two did a load of DMCA takedowns.
Oh, did they? I was going to say, because they wouldn't fuck around if they were trying to get it removed.
Yeah, but it was up there for like 2 days without it being taken down. Yeah, like the original tweets were still, like the links to the YouTube videos were still there. I was like, wow, what's going on here?
Well, yeah. I mean, even when I first heard about it, and I was like, oh, it's just on YouTube. How is it still just on YouTube?
Yeah. Weird, isn't it?
Normally, it's like, oh, someone's uploaded it to their Dropbox, and that's how you have to get it, or something like that. But yeah, it's been interesting. Like, obviously, seeing a lot of developers sort of having to explain to people. Well, a lot of developers just saying like, by the way, this is why we never show you anything until the game's basically done. But also like saying how it's sort of highlighted the way people view game development, and they think it's like, oh well, you finished the first bit of the game first, and then you finish. It's like, no, games are made like from the inside outwards, like in a way that people can't really get their heads around.
We weren't seeing level 1 here.
It's like films where they're filming in a cafe and they go, okay, right, that's a wrap, guys. We've got to be back here in 3 weeks' time because that's later on in the film. So we'll see you in 3 weeks' time back at this cafe. It's not how it works.
No.
No, I don't know, man. I can't wait for GTA 6. All I took away from this stuff is that it's interesting to see. It's interesting, the ghosts. It's interesting to see, the wireframing and the animation tests and some of the information they have to deal with when they're looking at it, because you never get to see that stuff. You never get to see it
unless it's part of
this must be the
a
biggest
documentary or something.
This must be the biggest video game leak there's ever been. I mean, I couldn't believe when one of you posted something in WhatsApp or saw on Twitter about the fact it had leaked. I was like, surely not GTA 6. I mean, we know it's coming.
What did Sarah say? What did Sarah say to you, Matt?
Oh, the other famously Rockstar, nothing ever leaks from Rockstar.
Which is what Matt
said.
Is
correct, yeah.
But isn't it funny, though, in that it's like, because it's such a huge leak, that's how it's sort of crossed over the line into like, well, it doesn't mean anything. Do you know what I mean? It's meaningless. Like, it's so early that it's like, well, you should, like, it would have meant more if you'd leaked this like 2 weeks before the trailer was due out.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
then you can say the GTA 6 source code is like worth more, whatever, by that stage, because surely then it's like more developed or whatever.
Yeah.
At this stage, it's not anywhere, is it?
It's like it's like, you leak the trailer the week before it comes out. That's a big deal. You leak this stuff and you go, it doesn't even really look like a game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It looked like it just looked like rehearsals or something. It was really weird.
I mean, and it's fascinating as well, like, because obviously we've all, if you're listening to this and you haven't heard it, the Xbox Underground episodes of Dark Knight Diaries. I know we've recommended it a number of times now, absolutely essential. But it's a great insight into how these things happen, and B, the different personalities you will find within like a hacker community, collective, whatever, and that some people are just like huge fans. They're just very interested and very curious and very clever, but they've no intention of sharing the stuff, whereas other people are just fucking sociopaths. And it's fascinating.
Yeah, ultimately, this isn't going to change anything. This isn't going to change development. It's not going to bring anything forward. It's not going to reveal anything really that we didn't really know. But it's interesting to see. But it's
okay. Here's the question: game comes out. Do they put an Easter egg about it in the game?
Yeah, there'll be like a news report or something in the game.
They do, don't they?
Yeah, 100%.
It depends if they're still dealing with legal stuff. I don't know. They might not be able
it's too Rockstar for them to like that. I mean, Rockstar cram Easter eggs into their games. It'd be mad for them not to have a reference to it, right? Where you go into someone's bedroom or someone and you can see that footage playing on the monitor or something. It's going to happen. And then there's all sorts of shit in the bedroom that I can't. I need to work for Rockstar. Right? Are we done with this story?
Yeah. Next one is that there's been, Games Media has been hit by like a whole wave of layoffs this week.
I don't know this.
Let me tell you about it. So a number
Shut up,
of
Dave.
Let me tell you about it. Come on, sit down. Let me tell you about it. Go on.
So Comcast have fired between 20 to 30 staff from G4 TV, which caught most of the staff off guard. Apparently, like they weren't aware this was happening. And speaking to Kotaku, some sources said this was because there was very unrealistic revenue goals at the company, and then also like employees were told nothing about who was gone or what was happening, and people were finding out by searching names in Slack. As to who's been let go and who hadn't been let go and this kind of thing, which is pretty terrible. So that was them. And there's also Future have also laid off staff at like Tech Radar Gaming, Android Central, Windows Central, and iMore. I mean, as GamesIndustry.biz said, this is despite the fact they made £269 million in profit last year, and the CEO earns 240 times more than the average employee at Future. They also had 48% revenue growth in the first half of 2022, but they also cut a lot of people.
Weird, isn't it?
But then also Fanbyte was reduced in size considerably by Tencent, And with them, like the staff were laid off. There was Imran Khan, who was covering the Tokyo Game Show for Fanbyte, was asleep and then like woke up and found that he'd been let go. You know, he was like over there like covering it for the thing. I mean, you'd think at least wait until he got back or whatever, and have a conversation. But I mean, Tencent made 35 billion last year, and but yeah, they let Fanbyte. It's been massively reduced. So this is really sad. I mean, this is really bad for for the whole. Well, for games media, really.
It's great. I mean, G4 obviously only kind of relaunched like last year. After being massive, like was it 10, 20 years ago? That's really sad. I mean, future again, especially given the financial kind of profit is ridiculous. But like Fanbyte were doing really genuinely brilliant work. I follow Nikki Grayson, obviously Imran Khan as well, and it's a real shame because they were doing some really really great stuff. And the fact they're all like randomly finding out through Slack. I mean, some people like the intern got fired. I think Nikki Grayson's intern got fired like a day before his Summit internship was due to end.
Right, yeah.
He didn't even get a chance to kind of say goodbye on Slack. They're like, okay, gone, and it's like Slack accounts, closed. There was no kind of goodbye. There's no like you've got until the end of the week. It was just you're gone.
Well, because I heard
so many people from Fanbyte gone. It's not just like a couple of people here and there. It's like the editor in chief, the news editor, all these like substantial people are gone. It's like it's Fanbyte just gone. I think as a result, it's really sad.
Because the Fanbyte stuff, I was reading that it was like throughout the day. It wasn't just like emails have gone out to the people who are going, and the emails have gone out to the people who are staying, and that's all been communicated. It was like apparently it was like once an hour, like someone would get a phone call, and people were working through the day, being like, well, at any point I might get a phone call telling me I shouldn't
that's,
actually. Fucking horrible.
The recession, 2008. That was how it works in my office. It was fucking horrible. Everyone was waiting for either a phone call on their, internal line, come downstairs, or a tap on the shoulder, like throughout the course of a week. And that gave me some chills. Like after that, I was like constantly just like every time my phone went off, I was like, ugh. It's constantly looking over your shoulder to see if someone's walking up to you. Yeah, it's horrible. Getting laid off is absolutely horrible. And it just makes you wonder what direction is the games media going now? It's hard, right? It's hard because you had the magazine era and then you had the website era. That website era is pretty much who's
looking rough, isn't it?
It's all content creators, streamers, and
or people doing it themselves with Patreons.
Yeah, it's totally
like you have obviously Brad, Vinny, and Alex leaving Giant Bomb, set up their own Nextlander. Now Jeff Gerstmann left to set his own thing up. I mean, even like Kind of Funny, massive.
But they'd already transitioned from the website stuff, right? They'd already transitioned from the written stuff and just gone for videos and podcasts and stuff like that. It's different now. You the age of sitting down and reviewing a game is wanted less and less, and now it's let me see a video on this.
Video or podcast.
But that's such a shame. Because there's so much to be said for printed as well.
I totally agree, James. But when was the last? Well, I suppose you still read magazines, right?
From time to time, I read Edge from time to time, but
rare, isn't it?
Yeah, not so much as I used to. But I do read websites. I prefer to do that over watching YouTube videos.
What websites do you read? I'm not challenging you. I'm just interested.
I mean, I do read Eurogamer and I read GamesIndustry.biz, as you can tell from the news, because I think it's pretty good.
Scrape them for content.
Yeah, I do that, and. I read their stuff, and I read Kotaku sometimes as well. But it's I don't know. I prefer reading stuff like that from a site where I know that people, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Well, this is it. This is the obviously when stuff like this happens, it is awful. But and the bigger picture is that we're never gonna know what the sort of coverage we could get if we could have 40-year veterans in games media,
exactly,
right?
And that's
because
that's
it's just
not
it's not a lot a secure enough prospect for a career for your entire adult life, and we're going to be missing something as a result of that. When it gets to the point where, I suppose some people are, who have been in games media are old enough now that they could still be doing that. if it was a secure enough career. If it wasn't like, well, I'm going to have a kid, I don't want to live in London. I mean, obviously remote working has really helped, but like obviously the time was that if you didn't want to stay in London for your entire adult life, you can't stay in games media.
Sounds about right though. You can't be trusted if you're not in London. Derek Wilkins says in the chat, watching gameplay gives you a much better idea of the quality of a game than some written piece for the most part. I don't agree with that at all. I think watching gameplay footage can actually, you're trying to fill in the gaps on when someone's a good writer, they can get across not only how the game feels in your hands, like to play, which is obviously a massive part of gaming, but they can also describe the emotional reactions that they had to the gameplay.
Yeah.
Whereas like watching gameplay footage, 9 times out of 10, I'm looking at it and going, okay, I don't know if I'm able to pull that off. Like I watched Neon White gameplay footage and I instantly thought this is gonna be too hard for me. Because it just look at what
it's a
you're
speed
doing.
run game. Because
of the way the game plays, it's like no. Actually, this is very, very doable. Very doable.
And that's the thing, because also like reviewers can provide context, and they can an experience of other things they've had. And
But having said all that, I tapped out of that content a while ago. So I can't sit there and moan and go, oh, why can't we have like proper written word content reviews of games anymore? And I'm part of that problem because I used to read Eurogamer. I don't read it anymore because it become far too much about here's my opinion, and I was like, which is what like video game writing is, right?
Yeah, that's what reviews are. Yeah.
But I don't know. It wasn't the content that I like to read, right? And a lot of websites went down that route for me. So now I don't even know what I do to gauge an opinion. I suppose now I play games myself. I'm like in a position where I just buy the games that I want and I play them and I make my own mind up.
But it's also the other thing that I think is missing is like features and stuff like that. Like long form pieces that you get like on things that have been like researched over like a long period of time and stuff like that. You can do that with video. Like you can absolutely do that with a documentary. Like it's completely possible to do that. Exactly. There are lots of those. But there is still something to be said for the written word for this as well. You can do it in a very different way, and it has like a different sort of sort of cadence and feeling to it than like a video does.
It's going to be a weird future, man. And we can get nostalgic for the past. Like I loved Games TM. That was my magazine. When I sort of had enough of the pretentiousness of Edge, which perceived pretentiousness. So on my reaction to it, jumping up, finding Games TM, and just going, "Oh shit, this is doing what Edge does, but without the sort of nose in the air," which was my reaction to their magazine. Like I loved that era so much, but it's not coming back. So
no, and like whereas we used to have new magazines popping up all the time, now we might get some Patreon supported ones, which is great, but that happens less and less frequently. Same with websites. It's like, are you really going to launch a website today? And so for me personally, I still subscribe to Edge, still get a magazine through every month, and it's great to read through, mostly for the features, because at this point the reviews and news are often can be a month old. For me, I get all my reviews stuff through podcasts. When my favorite podcast, when Splatoon's out, so I'll go to all my podcasts, hear what they all have to say. I know what their own tastes are.
Here we go. So let's do this.
Myself.
Let's do this because we haven't done this for a while. Let's check in. What sort of podcasts are you getting your video game reviews and views from?
It's kind of funny. To do like a review for. Well, they do. Yeah, they do reviews for almost every big game. So, and it's often like an hour and a half, 2 hour podcast.
Yeah. Sean, do you pick up podcasts?
I listen to Waypoint Radio on and off. That is kind of it.
Do you do it for like the big games that you've been playing a lot, and you're like,
well, this is it. Yeah, I tend to dip in when there's something I've been playing that I think they will probably like, and we'll talk about a lot. Like, because it was, I think Matt, it was you that told me about the Citizen Sleeper spoiler cast they did, and that was what got me into that.
Yeah, I dip into that every now and then, but and that's often I see what they're talking about, and then, but like every week it's kind of funny. It's Nextlander or Giant Bomb, but maybe less so Giant Bomb now these days, and but that's enough. That between that and playing the game, and doing a little bit of reading or Edge, I'm covered. How about you, James? What are you listening to, gaming podcast wise?
I mean, I only really listen to 2, I think now. And they're not even. I mean, I listen to the Player One podcast because I've been listening to that since it began.
Since I've known you, I think.
Yeah, I still listen to that, and I still enjoy it. Because
when James says I've been listening to that podcast since it began, No, they're on episode 732 at the moment. So
It's been a very long time. It's well, they were all formerly from like EGM and One Up and places like that, and it's just I know I always enjoyed that era a lot. I mean, the other one that I've started listening to more recently is the Eurogamer one, and the reason is because they relaunched it. They relaunched it not so long ago, and now what they do is they have two podcasts they put out a week often, where what they do is they have one which is often like interviews and stuff, which are sometimes really good. Like they did the one with the Citizen Sleeper guy. Got the name, and
Gareth,
which was that was really interesting. But then also they do like a sort of a news roundup and stuff like that, and it's not too long, because that's why I never got into like Giant Bomb and stuff, because it was too long. It was really just too long.
Nextlander is also Nextlander is definitely shorter than Giant Bomb used to be, and yeah.
Also, I can't believe I missed this. Shout out to the gamesindustry.biz podcast as well.
I
really
good.
I listened to that as well. Yeah, so
like Special Moves finished, so I stopped listening to that obviously, but Filthy Casuals is probably the first one that I go to listen to. It's an Australian podcast. It's they're really good, and that's the ones that you mentioned really. Player One podcast. I've sort of tapped out of Nextlander. It's not really as focused for me, but I'll still check out Giant Bomb from time to time because of love it more. So yeah, it's weird. I've always found that's a better way to get a sort of judgment on, because I don't know about you, right? Especially on Giant Bomb, every now and then there are times where I listen to them saying how great a game is, but you can hear in the voice that they don't mean it properly. You know what I mean? Like there's always that hint of, are you saying this because a lot of other people are saying it, or are you saying it because you truly believe it? And I think I can pick up on that. So I always prefer to listen to that.
I know we've promised we wouldn't do this. Everyone in the chat saying, "Oh, you're snubbing Backpage Pod."
Oh, absolutely not. Backpage don't do that.
I was going to say, because they don't do reviews of like ongoing stuff, do they? It's all sort of I absolutely listen to Backpage, and they do. Well, I like the way that when a big game comes out, they do a themed sort of show on that. Around
it. It's like VG247. VG247 do a podcast where you've got a panel of guests try and pick the best game with a wedding in it. And then they argue what's the best game with a wedding in it. And
Sleeping Dogs, by the way.
It's that was nominated, I think.
How was it?
Good. It's always Tom Orry just getting increasingly like upset and angry at Jim Trinker. So that's another good one as well. But it's not. I don't go there for reviews of video games. That's the difference. That's the difference. We're in London. Sorry.
On subject of games media, it feels like now the bigger things are the fan-supported one, which is interesting because obviously all these larger companies that own these gaming websites, you know, like the company that own like Giant Bomb and Tencent owning, these kinds of sites, like they've got these ridiculous revenue targets, as James mentioned. But then it's proven actually fans want this kind of content because they are the ones paying for things like Easy Allies and Kind of Funny and Nextlander. So there is people out there wanting kind of content, but just there's a gap between what the owners of these companies feel like they need to do revenue wise, and actually everyone else just doing what they want to do and pay for by the fans.
You need the sort of independent podcast run by 4 white guys, two beards, maybe 2 clean shaven, all have various different issues going on. Don't get me wrong. They've all got problems.
That's what makes them relatable.
But if you want to hear about those problems, then that crew should charge them £4.50 a month. Some sort of bonus podcast where they take deep dives into each other's lives. That's content.
Well, because the other interesting angle here is that, like, obviously, we know plenty of people who were let go from a job at like a big, one of the big sites or whatever, and they just went, right, well, I'm going to start my own thing, and have done all right out of it. Like Bob Mackey, who I'm a fan of. He does, he does Retronauts, but he also does the What a Cartoon podcast, which I'm a fan of. He used to be at IGN. He was let go, and he's been saying for years, like this is the only road out of like games media is to start your own thing. But like,
get a different job.
Well, basically, yeah,
That
exactly,
is
which
another road
shouldn't
out,
be the
yeah.
answer, right? And then when there's like another wave of layoffs like this, it's like, yeah, but how many people can be supported that
Well,
way?
this is it,
you know?
isn't it? You ain't taking my fucking Patreon money, boy. You stand down. You stand down. The amount of people, I'll support Backpage instead of TCGS. Well, fuck you, then. That's why we didn't mention it, Ben.
They're basically thieves, is what we're saying. Stealing.
Well, I
from
mean,
us.
we've all got kids, and they're taking food off our kids'
That's
table,
true.
so
That's true.
nice one. Cheers. Well
Yeah,
done.
yeah.
Well done. Is that it? Is that it for that news
That's
story?
it.
Probably,
Can we
yeah.
get into the next thing? Because this is, this is going to take ages.
We
to
ain't
get
got no
through.
games to talk about. We've all been playing Splatoon again. No one's got anything to say about it. It's the same fucking game. If you want to know what we thought of Splatoon 3, go and listen to our Splatoon 2 review. We should have done that. We should have done that, shouldn't we? Last week did what what Eurogamer do with FIFA. We should have just cut and pasted our Splatoon 2 discussion and put that in the podcast and just James
See if anyone
interrupting
knows.
us. Free. Never do. What we should have done. Right, go on.
Okay, so also last week we had a Nintendo Direct that happens. That I think we've all seen it, haven't we?
I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
The more I think about it, the more I think this is the best Nintendo Direct I've ever seen.
Why? Go on.
It's like the slowest, most subtle burn on all their fans. It's such a big, like, middle finger to us. I was
I'll
sitting
tell
there, I
you
was so excited. I thought it was going to be so good.
I'll tell you what I'm loving about this though is the way, like you said, like before every one of these, the same rumours get trotted
Yeah.
out like every single
And
time.
everyone assumes. Last week we were going, yeah, actually, I wouldn't mind playing the Metroid Prime games. Actually,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm not like it was being out, and I went, we shouldn't really go into this because it's not been announced yet. It wasn't announced. James, do you want to go through how bad this Nintendo Direct was?
I mean, do
Okay,
we?
so
We're not going to go
I've-
through everything, are we?
no,
I've got
we
no,
are
this is what I'm
absolutely.
going to do.
Well,
I've got-
look, I can. Sorry, James. I can cut this down by 90% by saying farm simulator games.
Fucking
Okay.
hell, it's
There
getting
we
bad,
go.
isn't it?
Do you
That
know,
covers
and this is what
8%
I'm
of it.
talking about with the Nintendo Direct, right?
Mm.
It being a massive troll because they really spaced them all out.
I know.
Like, with so many.
I'll tell you what. I mean,
farming
Stardew
crafting
Valley has
games.
got a lot to answer for.
Yeah,
I
really
said
has.
those exact words I said on WhatsApp the other day to someone else. I was like, there's a reason Stardew Valley did as well as it did. Like, it's an
was
incredible
good,
game,
you know.
but by this point, I fucking it's getting
mean,
bad.
we
And
seem
no
to have
one's
moved
got as good
on.
as that, so they should all give up.
We've moved on from roguelike car battlers and stuff like that, and now we're into the farming sims.
Farming
It's,
sims,
yeah.
but with a bit of combat, maybe,
Can I
or
touch-
relationships, or
Can I touch on my favourite moments?
yeah,
James?
go on.
Can I just spurt them out? First of all, the announcement of possibly one of the worst Splatoon Splatfests I've ever heard.
Hang on,
Like,
hang
I
on,
mean,
I thought we're not going to go through this like in,
No,
in any.
Sean
No,
has
'cause we'll be here all
literally said,
fucking
let's
night.
not go through this. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. It's so
But
long.
James
and
spent
it's
a week writing
I
notes
spent
about
ages
it.
writing all these down.
Don't give a fuck. Splatfest was rubbish, but we had an argument about it in WhatsApp, and I
We
said
did.
let's do this on the show. So
Yeah.
the Splatfest is, what would you take on a desert island? It was gear, grub, or fun. Right?
Yeah.
That's one of those
Yeah.
three.
Yeah.
Right. Sean, what did you go for?
Gear, obviously.
What did you go for, Matt?
Yeah, obviously gear.
And what did you go for, James?
I mean, gear.
Jesus
Like,
Christ. I went for fun.
Fucking.
what does that even
That's
mean?
the worst of the three answers, Dave.
Okay. Explain why it's the worst of the three answers, and I'll explain
it
why
mean?
you're
Because you're gonna survive on a deserted island.
wrong. Okay.
Like, you're not
can
gonna
make- you
have
can make-
time to, like,
you
off.
can make fun with gear as well.
Okay. And why did you choose gear? What was the thought process there, guys?
Because
Survival.
gear will provide grub and
Yeah.
shelter,
Shelter.
and everything. Like,
On.
bit
Right,
of fun.
Do you want my reply to that?
Go on.
You're not going on a desert island, you fucking idiots, you bunch of squares. Oh, we're going on a fictional desert island. What do you want to bring with you? Tools, actually. Really? Did you want to have fun? Let's go. Like have a laugh on a desert island. What's the matter with you? It's not
No,
real.
no.
We're
It
only
says
just having laugh.
a deserted island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine. Let's bring fun. Let's have a laugh. We're not actually going there, you
Okay,
idiots.
first of all, what does it mean to bring
I'm going to
fun,
bring a
though?
spanner.
Yeah, yeah. Explain your
are you
fun.
really? What
So
you gonna do
hang
on
on.
this
So Dave,
desert
your
island?
argument is, but it's not actually real, so it doesn't matter. Is that
100%. That's my
okay?
argument.
I feel like
100%.
you're missing the spirit of Splatfest.
No,
Dave.
I think you are. I think you guys are. Oh, we're going to
just
deserted
spoils.
island. What are you going to do? Bring a spanner. What for? Build shelter. All right. Well, I'm going to bring fun because I want to have fun on my deserted island.
What is
'cause it's
fun
a
though?
laugh.
What are
Yeah, but you're
bringing,
gonna
like, a load of
starve to death,
balloons or
Dave. You're
something?
gonna, Dave. You're gonna die of exposure clutching your pack of cards.
Dirty mags.
Dirty
Ball. Frisbee. Alcohol.
What, frisbee on your own?
I'm pretty sure Max chose gear because he thought it was drugs. And he
Well-
didn't actually. He's only now realising that it's tools, so he's embarrassed himself.
I haven't. I've had a wonderful weekend.
I don't know, bikinis. I'm gonna bring
Well, just for you to
Bring
try.
one of
and-
those.
Bring
David.
just some bikinis.
Yeah,
a football. I'm gonna bring a football. I'm gonna bring one of those like you know those bong ball, you know the bat and ball thing where we go boom.
Yeah,
Yeah, they go really loud.
And,
Yeah, yeah.
and then one of those little rocket things that go.
Are you going to bring
When you
one of those
throw 'em.
like big hands that they have at football as well?
Absolutely,
You know,
gonna
like
bring all
pointing
that.
at
What are you
things?
gonna bring? What are you gonna bring? A saw?
Yeah,
Yeah.
why not?
Yeah, well done.
And I'm
laughing
not
at
going
me.
to starve to death.
Absolute nonsense. Well, no, I'm not going to starve to death either.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I'm not on a desert island.
Yeah, but it's a hypothetical situation, Dave.
And I'm hypothetically having fun. You're hypothetically building shit. Who's the cooler person? I am. That's the end of the discussion. Team Fun are going to win easy. But
Right.
anyway,
Okay, yeah, all 10 of
Shit's-
you. It's going to
shit's
be
Splatfest.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, look, can I? I'm going to go through these because you can't just like skip to the good bits because there weren't
oh
any.
fucking
But-
hell, James, come on.
Well,
No,
right.
because
So
there's
this is
stuff that
this-
happened that was there was a good beginning to this. There was Fire
Okay.
Emblem. Fire Emblem. They started off with. There's a new Fire Emblem game coming.
Yeah,
That's
so
nice.
James, so
Sean,
how
let's
does
let
this,
him do it. Let's let him do it.
All right, fine.
Because
Yeah.
this is going to fucking
The
irritate the shit out of me. Go on.
James,
No,
how
I'm
does
just
it,
saying you
Here's-
can't
here's
just
what we're
say,
doing.
"Oh, my favourite bit was this" or whatever. It's ridiculous.
Here's what we're doing, Sean. What
Yep.
we're doing is
Yep.
instead of doing it how it should be done and just picking out the highlights and discussing them,
Oh,
Right.
this is such bullshit.
just because James has written them down, we're going to want it's going to ruin this Porsche show. So let's
This
go.
is such bullshit. Do you know why this is bullshit?
Take it away, James.
Every time I've tried to do that, like
Yeah.
where I've tried to say, okay, here are the highlights. These are these not in order. Everyone goes crazy and starts
Yeah.
saying, "Oh no, what were they in order? Why didn't you write them down?" and all that kind of
No,
stuff.
hang on. You've
Just because
conflated
you've
two
done it
things
this
here.
time.
There's doing everything out of order, and then there's just doing the highlights.
No, because it's picking the.
Then
It's picking
you can
them
do
out of
the
order.
highlights in order.
Right,
That's what
okay,
I'm
come on in,
saying.
James. Go on, let's hear it.
Right, I'll just do the highlights then. It's so Fire
He's
Emblem.
fuming because he spent more than 5 minutes in putting this together. Go on.
There's Fire Emblem. I mean, I'm looking forward to that. I don't know if
Yeah.
anyone else is.
Yeah,
so,
no,
so
absolutely.
James, how does it differ from Three Houses, or is it more the same?
It'd be more of the same.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
Same,
that's
please.
all right.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay.
that's fine.
You're
It,
good?
it takes two on Switch.
Mm-hmm. Next.
Absolutely not.
Fatal Frame.
I mean, to be fair, there is something to talk about with that because It Takes Two looks absolutely fucking terrible.
Yeah, it did look shocking in terms of
You know,
frame rate
that-
and all that.
Yeah,
makes
someone
it-
said on Twitter, it takes 2 frames a second.
It wasn't not even that. I mean, oh my god, the character models were so bad. Stop doing it. Stop doing it. Like, just if you're going to release a game, especially It Takes Two looks incredible.
Beautiful
just
game.
do a stream version of it. Do you know what I mean? Jesus, right, go on.
Fatal Frame. That was another one of those
Okay.
coming up.
Mhm.
Okay. SpongeBob SquarePants.
No, that I'm gonna, we're getting it in this house. We're SpongeBob fans.
Isaac's just got massively into SpongeBob.
Yeah, Elodie loves it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're definitely gonna get that.
Yeah.
Okay. Fitness boxing.
Yeah, nothing to say about that.
He's actually skipped something as well. That's the worst part.
No, it's fine. We don't need to talk about that.
Okay. Okay.
I thought we
So we have to do everything unless James says we can skip it.
Yeah, listen. Who the fuck is in charge of this? Reading this?
Always
Me.
got a point. He
So
has
I
got a
can
point.
I can skip things if I
I
want to.
can't.
Like,
Damn
I
chill.
don't agree with you, James, but I fucking respect you. Go on.
Fitness boxing, Fist of the North Star, which was
Why are we doing
very
this?
strange.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Just go on. Just get on with what you really wanted to do. It's
Have you
just-
realised that you're wrong now?
Yeah. No, I'm not saying I'm wrong. I'm just saying you're doing this on purpose to make it worse. It's like it's.
No, we're not. What do you want me to say about
Terrible
Fist of the North
accusation.
Star boxing?
Say what you thought about it. Did you think it looked good or not?
No.
Okay, so you could have said that.
Okay. Go back to doing your thing then. What's the next game? What's the next game, James?
I'm laughing because I've seen what it is.
Yeah,
Cool.
let's see the next one.
Oddballers.
No.
I didn't even remember what this is.
I don't even remember what that was. Tunic. I mean, Tunic's coming to Switch. That also looked very framey. I don't know if anyone
Did a
saw
bit.
that, but...
I mean, this is the thing, is that there was a lot of, oh, there's a port coming to the Switch. It looks worse than you remember. Good news if you've only got a Switch, I guess.
Yeah, it's a bit weird to see promotional material reminding you of how out of date the hardware is.
Yeah.
I
mean, God love them that they clearly insist on using Switch footage because back in the day, like you remember getting games, like I'd buy games for the Commodore 64, and it's like, well, here's the Amiga screenshots, deal with it, like,
right, okay. So my highlights were obviously the best thing I'd ever seen in a Nintendo Direct was Shigeru Miyamoto's appearance on this.
Fucking
Direct.
hell, what was that about?
I'd love to have known what you thought, because here's what happened. I wish I'd watched it live, because I didn't, because I thought it was going to be good. So I asked everyone to be quiet so that I could experience the Nintendo Direct with Harry when he got home, right? And I couldn't believe it. I actually couldn't believe it. I could not get over what I was watching. So let's go. So what did you do? Did you get into a separate chat and was talking about it while it was on?
Yeah.
We were in a
What, were you freaking out like I was? Especially when Shigeru Miyamoto come out and he
Not
come out and he
freaking out,
went,
no.
"Hey, yeah." So he reminded us that there's a Mario film on the way. So instantly, me and Harry are going, "We're getting the trailer. We're getting a trailer to the Mario movie. I can't fucking wait." And that's all he said. There's a Mario film on the way.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said, and then we're opening a theme park next year.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let me show you my Pikmin mobile game.
about
Well,
Pikmin then,
so then he talked about Pikmin Bloom, which has been out for about a year
Yeah,
and isn't that good.
yeah.
He loves playing it, Sean. He loves playing it.
He does. Well, at
And
least
then he said-
glad someone does.
And then he said, now time for the main event. And me and Harry were going nuts. And it was Pikmin 4. And even after that, even that slap in the face, he followed it up with, we've got nothing to show you, but here's
There's a screenshot.
Yeah.
But not even a game, not even a trailer. Not even a gameplay trailer, but not even a trailer.
Over it.
I mean,
How
it was as
bad
good
is
as like
that?
them launching, announcing Metroid Prime 4. It's just like
Yeah,
with,
with a
the
logo. Yeah.
And that
Please
was about it.
understand all of that stuff.
This is better than that,
right
because at
up
least this
there.
was in-game.
No,
in-game
but-
shot.
Yeah, but it was Pikmin 4 was the game.
Yeah.
And he described that as the main event. It was unbelievable. I thought it was a massive fuck you. I
Yeah.
thought it was really embarrassing. But also, I thought it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen. So I can't really moan about it too much.
And let's
But
not forget, and this is just after they brought up Switch Sports Golf. And then we're
I
like,
was just going to say,
we're delaying it. Way.
yeah. We're delaying it. Yeah.
I thought we're going to see it. Yeah, here's a release date. No, we're delaying. At that point, when they said delaying, I thought, here's 2023. Thankfully, it is this year.
It's still this year.
And
Yeah.
there's all the courses from Wii Sports. I thought they'll say, and here's another game, another thing we're adding to Switch Sports next year. That didn't happen.
You had the James Bond stuff, which was pretty
Oh,
good.
we've got
you
to
know.
talk about this.
Oh, yeah, this is
1080
insane.
Well,
Strange,
okay,
isn't it,
so
that
they're
whole
adding a bunch of N64 games. The N64, this is the highlight for me. They're actually adding decent N64 games. Like 1080 degree snowboarding. I'd play that again for a bit. What was the other games they announced, James?
I don't know.
But
Thought you were-
they should be in front of you, shouldn't they? Don't look at me like that. They should be in front of you. You've made a whole deal.
GoldenEye was one of them.
What were the other ones?
Okay, I've got the rest here.
Cheers, Matt. Go on.
It's Pilot
Thanks,
Wings
Matt.
64, Mario Party, Mario Party 2, Mario Party 3,
Harry loved
Pokemon
that.
Stadium, Pokemon Stadium 2, 1080 snowboarding, and Excitebike 64.
Yeah, Harry was well happy with the Mario parties because we will definitely play those.
Yeah.
Like, it'll be quite fun.
Those
to
last
play those.
five,
but
Mario
they
Party 3 onwards, all next year.
I was going to say, because they showed a load of them, and it's like, oh, holy shit, this is quite substantial. Then it's like, we're spreading them out over the next
they'll spread
6
them
months
out.
or
I
whatever.
think
This
whatever,
year, it's Pilot Wings, Mario Party, and Mario Party 2, Mario Party 3, Pokemon Stadiums, and 1080 and Excitebike
That's
in
right.
next year. But
That's
still,
right.
there's some good stuff in there. I still haven't actually got the expansion pack. I'm not sure if this really tempts me, but
Pilot Wings
It's-
N64. Pilot Wings is fucking great as well. Like,
very good, yeah.
you know,
That
the
was great.
64 version. Of that. I remember flying outside that house and on the jetpack and listening to a kid playing Mario in that little house, going up to Mount Rushmore or whatever it is. Oh, I loved all that. It was great.
we've got to talk about GoldenEye.
1080 was
Yes.
great too.
So the
But let's
GoldenEye
get to
stuff is
GoldenEye. GoldenEye was the big reveal, and instantly I knew what was coming. It was really cool. I mean, it's James and I have been saying this for years, right? Everyone wants GoldenEye, but go and play it now. Like it's not the game that you. I don't know if they. I really hope they're going to do some work to make it feel like a modern first-person shooter.
Well, you'd hope
I don't
that
think
it
they
will
will.
be.
I don't
At
think
least
they
like
will.
Perfect Dark, you know, like how they did that Perfect Dark release, that came out on Xbox, which made it playable, which was nice. And so hopefully the same sort of thing will happen with this, that it'll be. I mean, I think they said, didn't they? They've improved frame rate, and the Xbox version is going to have like 4K like, visuals.
Well, because
as well.
the Xbox version is like a remaster, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a remake. It's the
But-
the
The
remaster.
remaster.
It's
Yeah.
not the one though, is it? Because that was the thing. There was another remake that was being done that was apparently nearly finished, and
That's
then
right.
they binned that and have just gone
Right,
with like kind of an
yeah.
up-res thing. So it's not really.
Right, yeah.
But then there was some. I saw some funny on Roma. Someone was showing some like funny sarcastic screenshots of like how could they have got rid of this for this, and it's like basically looks exactly the same. It's like.
But isn't so? Yeah, but please tell me I've got this right because I still don't really believe it. So the N64 emulated one on the Switch will have online multiplayer,
Yeah.
but the Xbox One won't.
Yeah.
Yep, that's
The
correct.
only thing that makes sense in my head for that is that they've done this in the past, Nintendo. So they've taken N64 games and added online multiplayer, right?
Well, no, it's because the emulator, the N64 emulator on the Switch, does online multiplayer,
Yeah.
and it does it by some sort of like
Yeah,
way of
weird
like making local multiplayer like online.
Yes,
That's
so
how
it's
it works.
basically you're just communicating inputs to the emulator,
Yes.
and yeah, so everyone's
Yeah,
running
so-
the emulator in sync with each other, and
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's actually required. It doesn't seem
But
to
it's
require
fucking
a lot of work.
madness that they
Yeah.
haven't got a GoldenEye. Like, surely that would be the main focus. We're remaking GoldenEye on a. Right, let's see if we can get 8 players in a GoldenEye game with various different. Like, I would say it's the most important thing. People know GoldenEye for its multiplayer, right? What you
Absolutely.
do is you make sure that the online of GoldenEye multiplayer is completely customizable. It's basically forged, but for GoldenEye. It's all online. That you can have 16 players in a GoldenEye match if you wanted, right? Let's just go nuts with the multiplayer and make it insane.
I don't think
They
they can do
haven't
any of
done
that.
that. They're not doing anything. It's all
Yeah.
split screen only, right?
Yeah, it's split screen. You can play it like couch co-op or whatever. I think not co-op, but couch.
I
multiplayer.
just don't. I get that. I don't get it. And I mean, it's funny because I did say straight away. I was like, well, surely this paves the way for the Game Pass version of it. And they did. They announced it straight away. The Game Pass version.
Game
of
Pass.
God.
If you own if you own Rare Replay, it's coming free with that as well. So if you haven't got Game Pass, or you own Rare Replay, you get it for free.
Oh, really?
But yeah, I just couldn't
Oh, wow.
believe it as a multiplayer. Like when because the Xbox did the tweet for their their version during the direct. I was like, here we go. And when I heard about multiplayer, I'm like, oh, we can do like an awesome stream 4-player split screen, but we just see our own screen. It'd be bloody brilliant. And no, I can't. I'm absolutely gutted. I want to play this. I mean, I guess I can play it on Switch, but my
Yeah,
God.
I'm yeah, it's really disappointing, isn't it? But yeah, we'll play it on Switch. We'll have a session on Switch, I think. Why not? I just really hope that they've tweaked the controls to feel a little bit more modern. Because honestly, I a few months back I went back to play Time Splitters, which is the Time Splitters 2, which is the GoldenEye controls, and it's like, oh my god, this is unplayable. This is absolutely unplayable in this day and age. So yeah, we'll see. What else?
I mean,
else?
Obviously the big one is the Zelda news. And
Yeah.
is there anything- James, in your list?
Is it?
Yeah, I
news?
mean this is the last thing.
Oh,
Isn't it? I mean now
News.
now we know that it's coming. It's coming like May 2023, and it's called Tears of the Kingdom.
Is it though?
Um,
I've got a feeling this has got another delay in it.
You reckon?
Really?
Yeah, May.
Mm.
Yeah, I think it'll get delayed.
I don't think they would have given a date at all unless they can nail it down.
They did with Breath of the Wild, didn't they?
Yeah,
Pretty
but
sure they did with Breath of the
I think
Wild.
it's different these days. These days, people don't
I
confirm.
don't think it is. Well, I think it's more likely to get delayed these days, isn't it? We've
It's
had
more likely
way
to get
more
delayed,
delays.
but I think they're less likely to give a specific date unless they knew it was basically done and they're going to hit that date. I
I
definitely
could see this becoming their Christmas game or something like that instead.
Yeah,
Just like, oh, it's coming Christmas 2023.
But hey, look, I mean, we've got a new title. I'm not down with the new title at all. I think the new title is terrible. And well, there was rumours. I'd heard there was rumours. The reason, because what we haven't picked up on is the fact that they did this bizarre thing about like not showing us the Nintendo Direct live along with the rest of the world because out of respect for the Queen. So instead, we'll just put it up on demand an hour later, which made no sense. I don't get that. I don't understand the thought process behind that.
No,
but I'd heard, I think it was on Filthy Casual actually. Someone said they'd heard that the reason for that was because of the title of the.
Well, yeah, I think everyone's been saying. I don't think it's a rumor. I think everyone's been saying it because it just logically makes.
Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
That's why they delayed it for an hour.
Well, this is like the way they addressed it still makes no fucking sense. But I can totally buy the logic that this is why fucking everyone at Nintendo's offices will have been panicking like fuck when.
What can we do? What can we do? Let's just delay it an hour.
Yeah, what can we do to make it look like we've tried to be tactful but without actually changing
the Americans first, but they can still log into their streams. They won't do that. They will not do that. No. Too busy shedding tears of the kingdom.
Yeah, when I first saw that date, I was like, hang on, is this the 5th of... Is this the 5th of December?
5th of December or, it's
12th of... Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
What does that really mean?
Yeah.
I'd love it if that's actually when they released it. And, they did delay it to the 5th of December. So, no, it's always supposed to be that way. We just did
we
it.
said there, look. Told you.
It's weird, like, I don't dislike the title, but I totally get that, like, when we first heard the title for Breath of the Wild, there's something in that title, isn't there, that speaks to the freedom of it and the potential of it and the fact that it was this beautiful, like, open world. Whereas Tears of the Kingdom is very, like, sounds like, well, that's about the story, right? Not about the way the game is going to feel.
Yeah, that sounds like
play.
a Bond.
It also sounds like it's going to be really depressing.
Well, we already kind of know that, right? Because obviously all the sky stuff is cool, but it's very much been implied by previous trailers that, like, Hyrule's fucked again for some reason.
Right, so this is set after the events of Breath of the Wild, is it?
Yeah.
And then Hyrule's fucked again.
Yeah.
Okay.
But again, this is another. This was my sort of recurring theme through this. Was basically everything I was excited for. The trailers didn't give me anything. I was like, I still want Zelda. I still want Bayonetta 3. Yes, I'm excited about Pikmin 4, but we didn't see anything of it. Like,
I'm excited about Pikmin 4 though.
What's that?
Are you actually excited about Pikmin 4?
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah, me too. Because 3 was really good. I really
3 was really good.
3 was alright, yeah, it was a good game, but it's not. I don't know. That excited about it.
But like, I'm still excited about the Front Mission 1, 2, and 3 remakes. But I didn't. The new trailers didn't give me anything. Like, yes, I'm still excited about them, but their appearance here did nothing for me.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you look through all the stuff that they announced. There was nothing there, was there, really, that was like, wow, that's something extra to look forward to now.
Exactly. Or if we'd have seen a little bit more of Breath of the Wild 2, just give us a little bit more other than stuff we'd already seen, because we knew about the islands in the sky. We knew.
Yeah, but it was a new trailer.
Yeah, but it just showed us the same thing again, didn't it?
They did. There was that Kirby game. There was Return to Dreamland, but then again, it's another 2D Kirby, which. After,
is that a remake of?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's like a remake, which is a bit of a shame because the last one we had was the 3D one. What's the name? I've forgotten. It's
the what? Sorry,
the one that came out this year.
Oh,
Forbidden King. No.
What?
God, I completely forgotten.
It's gone from my brain.
Kingdom I can't remember. Or whatever.
Yeah, it's not.
Was it the Forgotten Kingdom?
The Forgotten Kingdom. That's the one.
Right,
yeah. It was.
How many times?
That was excellent though. That was really good. So I was hoping more of that really, but it didn't. It's not going to be.
On the subject of Zelda again, I know we've spoken about this privately, but I am obviously excited about it. It's going to be brilliant, but I'm just like, oh man, delay it for new hardware.
Yeah,
I'm not going to do that. Like, there's not going to be any new hardware.
I know that.
No, but I don't want to play it on the Switch. The Switch is fucking old, man. You go back and play Breath of the Wild now, and you go, oh my god.
Yeah, but you know how much that's been optimized since then, and then also that was being targeted also at the Wii U, Dave. Like this
Yeah.
hopefully will run better.
Because it's easy to forget that Breath of the Wild was a port from the Wii U. You know, they basically already developed Wii U version.
So to counter that argument, Super Mario Odyssey was solely gone for the Switch, right? Right. Okay. There's slowdown in that fucks me off as well.
Yeah.
Really? It's really good.
Yeah, really. You go to the Luncheon Kingdom, mate. It drops frames in the towns. Don't shake your head.
It's not that bad.
No, but you're missing the point.
I'm not missing the point.
No, you are missing the point. You're not listening to it. The point is that we want the next Zelda game to be like a big step up from Breath of the Wild in terms of visuals, in terms of frame rate, in terms of resolution, the lot. We want it to look as good as it
You're not going to get
blown
like
away.
Horizon Forbidden West like on a Switch. It's
No
impossible.
one wants that. No one wants that.
Yeah, I'm not expecting revolutionary better. I just want it to. I don't want like me to be playing this thing. This is amazing, but technically it's a bit of a disaster because this would be amazing, but frame rate here or this that. I just want it to be as good as it possibly can be. I don't want to be thinking this is going to be amazing when they re-release it on Switch 2 and it'll properly be what they needed it to be rather than put it on this current hardware where I'm getting slowed down on this, that, and the other. I'm not expecting 4K visuals, obviously. I'm not expecting Forbidden West, but I just want it to be done justice, not me constantly thinking what if when I'm playing it.
Well, what's going to be interesting is so I remember when Xenoblade 3 came out. Alex Donaldson from RPG site and VG247 was tweeting about how like when that came out there was a sudden surge of people looking into Switch emulation, right? And it like beyond just like, oh well, a new Switch game has come out and people are looking to not have to pay for it. It's like, no, this could now well be people who would are happy to buy the game, but they'd rather run it on their PC because it will run better and look better.
Yeah.
Which is a weird place for for current generation hardware to be in.
James, you're fuming. What's the matter?
Fuming.
You're fuming a little bit.
Oh, absolutely not fuming. No, I don't think we can judge anything until we really see it, like actually, like running.
Well, no, I think we can. I think we can look at where we're playing our games at the moment and the hardware we're playing them on, and the games, how they look now. You know what I mean? When Breath of the Wild come out, I wasn't sitting there going, "This is framey. This is looks a bit janky. I was thinking, this is incredible." Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The artwork
doesn't
carried
quite
out
meet the current standards of the Xbox One and the PS4, but it's close enough for me not to give a shit. That console is not close enough for me to not give a shit anymore. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but then lots of games have come out on Switch that still look and perform very well.
Absolutely. And what types of games are they?
Well, okay, they are generally stuff like Splatoon 3. Like you think,
very scaled down.
It's scaled down. It's smaller or whatever.
Yeah.
But
and the moment they go into a sort of a more highly dense area, it drops to 30 frames, and you're going. And we were moaning about it last week.
But the thing of this is I still don't think we're not gonna see another Switch for I think at least 5 years from now. It's gonna
5 years.
A while. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's 5 years.
They're not going to go 11 years between.
It could be 10. It could be 10 years.
Before
it actually happens.
No way. No. I ain't having that.
I mean, it sounds like a bet.
It does sound a bit like a bet.
Doesn't it? You think about stuff like the Game Boy and the Game Boy Advance and all those. They lasted for a very long time before they.
Yeah, but they were still
different
bringing
era,
out
though.
new hardware every time.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
don't know. I think they're going to stick with it.
James, you're saying no new Switch until 2027.
Okay, maybe 3 years from now. I think at least 3 years.
Here we go.
Beep, 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 beep. Is that James Farley reversing?
I think you're right, James. Yeah, I think it will be like 2 to 3 years. But it's just the fact that, and this is maybe a different subject, but the fact that these days new games are out, brilliant. Let's Google Switch performance of Cult of the Lamb, for instance. And I know this is Nintendo first party, different. They will be able to get much more from the hardware, but I just want it to be done justice. And I'm sure, just like David said, Breath of the Wild, if you looked at it, in isolation, it wasn't obviously anything compared to the other things in the other consoles, but artwork and gameplay carried it through, and you kind of forgot about that stuff. But I just want it to be as good as it possibly can, but I don't want to be thinking about what could have been. So obviously we're going to have to Switch. Let's hope it's as good as it can be. And I'm sure, it's going to be amazing.
You could be disappointed that it's not going to be on better hardware. I think.
Yeah, you can be disappointed, but well, I don't know, because I just want to see how it plays before I start saying whether it's awful or not. Like
Okay.
I don't want to go. I don't like the idea of going into a game expecting it to be bad.
What?
It's like
What?
James, we're not saying that.
What?
We
No,
have no
you've just
idea
said,
where
Matt,
they're
you've just said repeatedly, like, oh, I'm going to be in the back of my mind how much better this game could have
James,
been if it's on
Sonic
better hardware.
Frontiers. Sonic Frontiers. Let's get your thoughts on that.
Well, exactly, but that's the thing. I'm
What do you
looking
mean
there.
exactly?
I know, I'm looking at precedent there of what Sonic games have been like in the past.
Right,
They've all
okay.
been garbage. Now, if you look now at if you now look at Zelda games though, they've been good. They've been very good.
James, I've no doubt this will be like a 10.
A
This
good
will
game.
be great.
Yes.
This will be incredible, but that we can still think, man, performance-wise,
Yeah, I wish it had more power.
Yeah,
to
I've
play
no
with.
doubt this will be
Don't know
stunning.
until we play it.
Zelda game.
Okay. So I think we're slowly moving into something that I've wanted to own up about. Because I mean, the Nintendo Direct was terrible, and I laughed at it, and I thought, fucking hell, what the fuck? I didn't. I genuinely, when I got to the end of this, I didn't think I'd be hitting this episode saying that that I bought a Nintendo Switch OLED this weekend.
What made you break? I mean, I love it, but why?
Okay, I'll tell you the story. So I think it was Thursday. This is how quickly it happened. It was the idea first entered my head about getting one of these things on Thursday, and by Saturday I'd had it set up in my front room. So Thursday morning, I walked in to the kitchen, and we've got like one of those little, those little, what they call it, holes in the walls where you can see the front room. Right?
Oh yeah.
So I'm
Not like
doing
a
my
glory hole, like a serving hatch.
No, glory hole.
No, I haven't got a glory hole in my flat, Sean. I'm not.
That's the name of the episode now.
Not every place has got one of those, Sean.
You're missing out.
Well, next time I'm looking for a place, I'm genuinely going to be walking around places, going to the estate agents. And has it got a glory hole? Is there a glory hole? Or are we
so
allowed
as
to do one
Phil
outside?
says in the chat,
It's in the kitchen.
Can we call this podcast Glory Hole?
I think so. Anyway, so I looked over, and Harry and Charlie, for the first time ever, had set up their own 2-player game without my involvement, and they were playing Switch together in the front room. And
Cool.
I just watched them for a bit, and they were having a great time. They were playing Switch Sports. And I thought, shit, I used to play games with my brother all the time when I was a kid, but never play them in the front room. I'd always play them in my bedroom. And we're in a 2-bedroom flat, and they spend 99% of their time when they're awake in the front room, right? And we're all living on top of each other. It's too much. So I'm thinking, Harry's like 8, Charlie's like 3. I've got an old MacBook. And then I started designing their room in my head, and I'm thinking that needs to be a place where they can hang out, right? Because they haven't got that at the moment. There was no TV in their room, no consoles, no computers, nothing. It was just beds and toys. And when they wanted to play with toys, they would drag their toys
Bring them
into
into
the
the
front
living
room
room,
and play in
yeah,
the front room.
yeah.
So this weekend I decided to order a desk and set up the computer for Harry, and I said, they need a console in there. Now, initially, I thought I'm going to get a Series S because, loads of games on that bad boy. But then, Charlie doesn't play Xbox games. He plays Mario Kart and he plays. So I just thought, do you know what? The only Switch that I've bought was a launch one. That was over 5 years ago. We must be coming on 6 years for that, right? 6 years for the Switch.
2017 it came out, yeah.
Yeah. So
5 years,
it's 5 years, right? So I'm thinking maybe it's time I get a Switch. I get one of these OLED ones, and then put the old Switch in their bedroom with a little TV, all of that. So that was the idea. And all right, the little bonus of that is that I get an OLED Switch.
Daddy gets a new Switch.
Daddy gets a new toy. So I did. So that this weekend, Saturday, I went out. I bought a desk. I bought a desk chair. I set that up with a laptop, and I set them up with a TV and a Switch. And I sat and I played the best game to play on the Switch, Luminaires, all weekend. And Sean, you know how now you are a massive Nintendo fan. You always have been. And you've got 3 people with OLED Switches on the podcast. And I'm sure at some point you thought, should I? Don't. If you don't want, just don't.
Here's my question, Dave. Why didn't you just get a standard one, seeing as you've been moaning
what
about
is
this
it
for
like?
ages?
How much more is it? It's like £40 more. So I thought,
Well,
I
you kept
might
going on
as well
about
just
how
get
that was ridiculous, and
Wait,
it
why
is
would you ever do
ridiculous.
that?
It is ridiculous, and that's what I'm telling you, Sean. It's ridiculous. It's the most stupid nice to have you could have because you look at it and you go, fucking hell, this screen is lovely. And then half an hour later you forget about it.
Yeah,
and then you
stop
look at the
seeing
old
it,
one and go, oh no, this just looks shit now. Whereas I'm not looking at that screen constantly going, whoa. I'm just looking at the old screen and going, oh, this looks shit now. Great. It's honestly, it's ridiculous.
That's
Sean.
like all these technology things. You get like a new iPhone, new this, new that. You get used to what you're currently dealing with. It's only when you go back or compare.
Yeah,
like,
don't get me
you
wrong.
look at it, you're like,
If your Switch breaks, like if your Switch completely breaks, Sean, then get the OLED one.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like, it's a nice screen.
Yeah.
But honestly, I can't imagine sitting there going, having like a proper working Switch and everything, and then just going, do you know what? I'm going to upgrade because it's not an upgrade at all. It's not an upgrade. It's the exact
Well,
same.
it definitely is
but
an
that's the thing,
upgrade.
but we
It
did the
literally is an
same.
upgrade.
But also, me and Matt did kind of the same thing you've done, where like other people got the ones that we had, so then we got the new one.
Sure. Right, James.
How did we not do that?
James, because you've got 4 people in your household and you've bought 6 Switches.
No, okay. So what happened was, so I gave Asher the original launch day one, and then I gave you the other one, the Switch Lite.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But how did you end up with 6 Switches in a 4-person household?
That is a good question.
Well, there we go then. So don't have a go at me.
I'm not having a go, but you're having a go at me over it. Saying why would you? It's ridiculous, doing that. But then, we did the same thing.
You did not do the same thing as me, James.
Well, I did because I gave my son the old one.
You absolutely cannot compare what you've done to what I've done. I have bought 2 Switches in a 4-person household. You've bought 4 more Switches for the same amount of people.
Help me out here, Matt, please.
Well, Dave, I don't see how you can say it's not an upgrade when the screen is an upgrade.
The screen's a little bit better, but
Wait,
what I'm saying is
better.
that
You
it doesn't.
Therefore, it's an upgrade.
It doesn't. Yeah, but the thing is, right? The screen is better, but the feeling of the benefit of that upgrade lasts for about 30 seconds.
That's not true at all.
It is absolutely true.
Well,
not
just
true.
go back to the old one then.
Yeah. If that's the
No,
case, then
because
why
that's
don't
what I'm
you give, why don't
saying.
you give the
Because
kids
when
that
you go
one?
back to the old one, all it does is make you look at the old one and go, "Oh, this looks like shit now. Brilliant."
Yeah,
Like, it
because
looks
the
like
new
shit.
one's an upgrade.
Yeah, it's a better screen, but you don't. Do you not understand? You don't see the benefit after 30 minutes. Are you constantly sitting there playing your Switch, going, "The screen"? Ah!
It sounds
do that
like
with
when
anything,
I got
though,
a
do you?
PS4
If you
Pro,
buy-
and 20 minutes of Destiny, I was like, yeah, fair dues, this is better.
This is
But
better.
then you don't you don't spend the next 2 years out loading up games and going, tell you what, thank fuck this isn't on the original PS4.
Exactly.
Like-
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I mean, if it was running games, like if it ran Zelda Breath of the Wild without any
Well,
any frame drops, then you go, oh my god, yeah, this is an upgrade. Get this, get this. You know, you know, Neon White plays perfectly. You know, all of that stuff, you'd say get this, but it doesn't do that, does it, James?
Okay, so then why did you buy it?
Because I wanted to get a second Switch.
Why don't you
Yeah,
just
because
say
Dave has
one
already
then?
said, if you have cause to get a new Switch, you may as well get the OLED. He's not saying don't get it.
Yeah.
Well, no, he just said to you, Sean, 5 minutes ago, don't get it.
He did exactly say that.
Because Sean doesn't need one.
No, yeah, because I
That's what I'm
don't actually
saying.
need one. I've already got 2 Switches in the house. Thank you, James. I don't need, there's only 2 of us in the house that play games. We've reached our limit.
See, what this is, Sean, this is Matt and James. They were hoping that I was going to be on their side with their ridiculous decision to just buy one out of the blue.
Yeah.
Could care less.
I mean, it sounds like you could care less. It does sound like that. Which, if you're in America, means the same thing.
Games are great in it. I think. What else is mentioned?
But yeah, I mean, it's. I will say this: it's very premium feeling, and the color white is. I really like the color white. I think that was the line, wasn't it, Matt?
It's got a great new stand. I mean,
With an Ethernet port
Great
for your
news there.
Smash
it's
Brothers
got double the
matches.
storage.
Also, just brief one because James already pointed this out. The fucking the user stuff, like the sharing of games.
Oh
all of
my
that stuff
God.
between Model Way.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
horrible.
makes me sick.
Fucking
Yeah.
horrible.
So what I had to do was set up my new Switch as not my main Switch.
Yep.
It's
Yeah,
the
that's
sort
what you
of-
have to do if you've got two in the house.
Yeah.
It's
Or
just
more.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
So yeah, because Harry tried to play Animal Crossing or something on the old Switch, and it was like, nope.
See,
Mhm.
it works kind of the same way as game sharing does, like on Xbox, but with the in the sense that okay, if there's a problem with the internet connection, I can't play certain games, Dave,
Right.
because of the way things are set up.
Mhm.
But the
Yes.
difference is that's not going to happen because I'm connected to the internet because
And
I'm
it's
at home.
completely unintrusive as well.
Yeah,
You load up
exactly,
a
yeah.
game
Yeah.
and
Whereas
it loads up.
the point I was trying to make is the Nintendo stuff is much worse because of the fact you've got a portable console, which means you're most likely going to be taking it around the place, and it checks all the time in the worst way possible.
That sucks so much when you load up a game that you bought digitally and it goes, hold on a minute, just want to.
Just want to make
Let
sure.
me
Can I
just
see your
check.
ticket, please, sir?
Yeah,
If
yeah.
we-
That's it. Excuse me, you're supposed to be here. It's like fuck off.
Yeah.
Yeah, every
yeah.
time I go out, I have to like tether to my phone to connect to the internet to
I
play the
remember you
game.
saying, yeah.
Hey, that's what you get for like having the other one be the main one. So I get it, but it's just annoying as hell.
Well, this
I've
is, and
also-
this is it. And we've said before, like, on the one hand, you think like, well, why should Nintendo allow you to play your games across several devices? Like, one person buys one game, one person plays that one game, but I expect the Xbox lets you do it.
Yeah, Sony
Like,
lets
there's
you do it to
absolutely
some
no
extent.
issue. It's only alright with
they
it as
do
well,
it in
yeah.
a different way, but
Mhm.
Sony let you do it.
Speaking of this, actually, I mean, this isn't the news, but I think yesterday Microsoft basically updated the DRM policies whereby it checks even fewer times.
Right.
So I think now Xbox, I don't know exactly, but basically certain either 360 or Xbox or Series games now barely check or check a lot less than they used to,
Okay.
which is better for everyone, I think, if you're playing on cloud or whatnot.
But I will say this, right? Okay, about the games that I've been playing. Lumines, obviously, I've been playing a lot. I'm trying to get to level 100, Sean, and you've played Lumines before, right? It's ridiculous to try and get level 100.
I wouldn't remember, to be honest, but I believe you.
Put it this way: imagine a challenge in a video game that takes over an hour and can just end like that. It's happened four times over the weekend. I've got over an hour and it's gone, yeah, you fucked up, so game over. And you go, I was on level 97. So now I've got to work for an hour to get back to where I was.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, it's hard work. I'm still going to do it because I'm addicted. But yeah, sorry. James seems really disappointed.
I was
going
going
to
say, well, we've maybe because we've only done 3 out of like 9 news items.
I know.
Well, it's going to be a news episode, right? It's a news special.
Could be a news special.
the next one's going to be shorter because it's not that exciting. It's just, it's a bit rubbish, isn't it? It's
State of play.
So after that's the thing. After the Nintendo Direct, which was like stellar entertainment, just wall to wall, constant,
It was
amazing
bangers.
content.
Yeah.
We then had the PlayStation State of Play. So this kicked off with the Tekken 8 reveal, which I guess no one here cares about.
No, but I mean it's huge. This.
I think Tekken's right. I love it, Tekken. Just for me, the Tekken, like games like Tekken and stuff like that.
The Tekken.
They should be they're the games that they should be putting on their thing. Their
On their what?
subscription stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
That's the type of game they should be putting on there.
See, I love Tekken.
I want it for free.
Years ago.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. No, I think for every game on there, really.
Ideally, yes.
Go on, sorry, James.
Yeah, I mean, my memory of Tekken is multiplayer. Just sitting down, playing it with other people. That was a lot like that was a lot of fun. It was great.
Good game.
Yeah.
Good game.
Then
the guy
we had
with
a
a
whole...
little lion as a head and a tie.
Yeah.
That was Tekken, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's the one.
Panda was it? That was Tekken.
Yeah. Law was a character called Law.
Law was a character.
Yeah. Forest Law, Martial Law.
Big pardon, Matt.
Did Circle X did it?
Okay.
It's only made you do it again just to make sure we get a good GIF of it.
Yep. Go on.
Then we had a bunch of PSVR2 ports.
Well, this was weird, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because I'm not saying this is representative of the total PSVR2 library, but if you're gonna do one of these and you're gonna be like, here's the PSVR2 bit, maybe don't just do 2 ports of Meta Quest games that have been out for 2 years already.
Yeah.
Bit weird.
And also, they didn't look. I didn't think they
No, it's not like having played the Quest versions of both of these, I wasn't looking at them like, oh, fair dues, they've really, done up the graphics.
I can't wait. I can't wait to find out what this VR2 is going to be priced at.
Mm.
I am so on edge about what that's being priced at. I can't wait. How do they compete with MetaQuest at this point? We were talking about it privately, weren't we, James? And we sort of said, I still can't get over. They bring out a £400 standalone PSVR.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that'll sell. That'll sell.
Yeah.
That would, but I still also, like, the other thing we were talking about is I still think that they've completely gone for the wrong thing at the moment with this. Like, I still think, if it was me, I wouldn't have bothered with PSVR 2 at this stage. Where they need to be in is they need to be back in the handheld market, because it feels like now is actually a good time for handheld stuff, because there is like a market there for it.
The streaming stuff makes a big difference to handheld gaming.
The streaming stuff, then also they could offer, if they could offer something that plays games of like PS4 level or whatever. You've got a massive library there.
Of course they can.
Of games.
Most people play games in their home.
Yeah.
You've got a PS5 somewhere in your home, something that directly streams to it. So it pulls the latency down to next to nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've done a lot of that stuff with. I'm so tempted to get one of those backbone things, because I've done a lot of that with my Xbox recently, and it just works perfectly, right? It feels great. Having a dedicated device like PlayStation thing, you pick it up, it links to your PS5, you can play it anywhere. It just seems like
and it's really annoying because the Vita was so good, like as an actual console. Okay, it had some design flaws, like with the with the controls, like with the back touch and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But aside from that, it was ahead of its time, like in terms of like how well built it was, and a lot of the games that came out were really excellent for it. But it got kind of buried and forgotten by Sony.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? We don't really need big games for these handheld consoles anymore.
I would argue we don't need a handheld console. I think we're caught in between having dedicated things like a PSP and Vita, and then the proliferation of things like 5G, which will enable streaming to be like really incredibly good. They can do all the games as it is. They don't need a dedicated handheld. They have these things like the PlayStation branded backbone.
Well, so what would you talk about the phone instead?
Yeah, I'm thinking basically.
My problem with that is that I use my phone as well as gaming. I get
that, but I think they're like, why would you possibly do a handheld now? Wait like a few years, not even wait. Like now, people can play games on there. I'm doing that on the couch downstairs, playing Xbox games upstairs, using my basically.
Again, that's my point. Is that I will sit there and I will use my phone, and I get annoyed when I get a text message, because then I've got to come out of the game and then answer the text message.
Oh no, it is annoying. But I feel like now is like the worst time we're on the edge of it not being needed at all. I don't think.
I don't think we are. Like in terms of like 5G connectivity is nowhere near like everywhere, like in markets that Sony are like operating in, and I still think there's something to be said for having like a dedicated device that you can also download games to as well, and you can play them like offline and stuff like that. Why? I mean, look at the Switch, like how massive that's been in Japan in particular. Like 98% of sales have been like for that, because of the fact that it's a dual use machine.
But they barely supported PSP. Didn't we killed Vita? Like they've had two now on the bounce. Haven't we done enough with it?
The PSP, they supported the PSP, and the PSP did very well. Like it didn't do like DS numbers, but it still did very, very well. The Vita though was a disaster. But the Vita was a disaster.
Vita. I love Vita. It was amazing. But
it was brilliant, but it came out at the wrong time, because it came out at the time before, like it came out. Vita came out when mobile gaming was really starting to take off, and it was before it became like a free-to-play hellscape. And it was like people were transitioning away from from playing on sort of dedicated handhelds. But I would say that's gone now. Like the mobile gaming is not what it was, like mobile phone gaming. And I think there is still space there for this. I think there's a much bigger market there than there is for something like PSVR 2.
What worries me about PSVR is that you're going to have the enthusiasts that are going to buy it, right? And then you're going to get Sony fans that are going to buy it. But the good thing about PSVR is that it dropped down to a very affordable level, and a lot of people tried it and bought it, right? But I've got a feeling a lot of those sort of the more mainstream consumers are going to remember buying it, playing it for a few weeks, and then it being like the Wii put underneath their, in a plastic bag underneath their stairs. they're going to go, well, we've got the PS5 now, but we're not going to spend £450 on a PSVR 2 because
I still think it's going to be sub 400, but I still think that's far too much, and it's far
that's
far
what
too
I'm
much
saying.
when
It needs to be 200. It's never going to be 200.
No, it's never going to be that.
It's never going to.
impossible.
But that's what it needs to be for it to be. Like, I'd buy one at 200 easy.
But also the other thing was when
PSVR
PS...
1 was 350.
Yeah.
I know, but when PSVR came out...
I'm not saying that it's going to be 200 or anywhere near that. But
Why do you think it has to be half the price of the first one, though?
Because I've got no interest. I don't think a lot of... I think in terms of the mainstream getting involved, I can't see them wanting to spend more than £250 on something that's either they've tried before and now it's under the fucking stairs, or it's a big risk. So you're saying where would you put it, Matt? How much do you reckon it's coming out at? I was to ask you.
I mean, I would say 450.
Right.
I think okay. Here's my. I know nothing. Here's my prediction. Because they announced like that they increased the price, didn't they, of the digital version and this version.
Yeah.
Which now I think leads kind of 359 like empty, because wasn't it like digital 359 before, and now it's 389.
So you reckon they're going in at 359?
Imagine 359. So it is still cheaper than the cheapest console because they've raised the price of the cheapest console. That's my out there guess.
I still think that's going to be too much for most people.
But you see, also the other thing is that when the PlayStation VR first came out, there was already a massive install base of PS4 people that owned PS4s. Like, there was a huge install base and people ready for new hardware. Like people at that point were like, they want to try something new, some new experience. You only need to hit like a small percentage of the number of people that had PS4s to for it to do very well, and it did do really well, like the PSVR.
Yeah, but only when it dropped significantly in price. When it went down to, do you remember that time where they were doing the starter packs for like $199?
Yes, yeah.
Like that's when everyone was buying it.
That's when I got
also
mine.
It's because you've got the scale of a massive install base as well, which the PS5 does not have. There's not that many people that own a PS5 compared with the PS4 when that VR came out at all. And that's why I don't know how this is going to pan out. I really don't, because
let's get back to the state of play. What else was announced?
So we had that. Then we had Like a Dragon Ishin, which we've already talked about, which is it's the remake of the other one that we had.
But we haven't talked about the fact that they're renaming the entire game, aren't they?
I was going to say, so they're rebadging this series, aren't they? Which I think makes sense because obviously they're moving away from Yakuza now, right? Aren't they? Like obviously Judgment has been a thing, and Ishin arguably was never a Yakuza game because it's set. A lot. I think before the Yakuza were a thing. Is that right, James?
No, because Yakuza existed in that.
Oh, did they? All right,
well,
fine. I'm talking shit. Sorry.
But
but obviously the studio's always been called Ryuga Gotoku, which means like a dragon, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So makes sense, I guess. And if they're going to start branching out into more less Yakuza things, fine.
Because this is the, as I understood it, this is the Japanese name of Yakuza, like what the games were called. They were called Like a Dragon.
Right.
So this is basically
so actually just marrying it up with
it's just like reverting to the Japanese name, which is fine.
Yeah, so every game from here on out will be Like a Dragon : something.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
But the one on the Xbox, was that Yakuza Like a Dragon? That wasn't it?
Yeah.
Say again?
Yeah, the first one, the Xbox one was called Yakuza Like a Dragon, wasn't it? So that was both, and now we've gone.
Yeah, that was the last one that came out. That was number 7, which was Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Turn-based combat and everything.
Yeah. So anyway, that's coming, but I've got some more on that later, so we can do some other things.
Okay.
Then we got Hogwarts Legacy, Pacific Drive. Then they did the PlayStation Stars thing, which they didn't really say anything about. They just showed a couple of things and said you can get these in the future.
Hasn't that started?
Yeah.
No, it hasn't started yet. It launches in Asia in late September, and then US and Europe later on after that. It's funny that they said obviously digital collectibles. They didn't say we don't mean NFT. They just didn't.
Yeah.
They did.
But before they kept on saying not NFTs. These are not NFTs.
Yeah, no, I don't imagine they will be NFTs, will they? They'll be like little
bother
trinkets
for
for
Sony
games
to do.
and stuff, right?
Well, this is it. And once again, it's like, oh yeah, because you don't actually need these things to be NFTs.
Yeah.
For this to
they
work,
can
it's not really
things that we've always unlocked as little exclusives and stuff.
and are tied to your account, and that's
It looks a bit like.
T-shirt.
Yeah. It looked a bit like the stuff from Astrobot, like
Colour of
Yeah,
the
Yeah.
gun.
yeah.
which is nice because that stuff was great.
I should say, I mean, we glossed over Pacific Drive. I mean, I'll be too scared to play it, but I thought that looked really good.
It looks alright.
No, okay, fine.
Driving when it through like.
It was like a
Natural
driving
disasters or
horror
something.
game, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think too much chasing for me, but
Yes.
I really love the color palette. Like it was like dark, like bright oranges, and they're kind of like
Yeah.
subtle
That
tones
colour
up on
palette.
that. So yeah,
Mm.
it looked great, but probably too scary for me.
Yeah.
All right.
Then we had Sinduality.
We
Right,
did have
let's get
Sinduality
with-
because I was pissing myself because obviously
Sure, you must love
I
it.
was watching this thinking maybe they'll show the new Armored Core game, right? And then I was like, oh, it's big robots. Oh no, hang on, it's all anime and there's it's definitely not Armored Core. I mean, this looked like perfectly good fun, but yeah, not gonna buy a PS5 for it.
Are you going to buy it for Stellar Blade?
Stellar
though?
Blade, I
No,
thought
but it did look cool.
really
Which was
fucking
probably
good.
the
Yeah.
I thought that looked great. I mean, I haven't. I've only seen that trailer. It looked like it's kind of Souls-like boss battle gameplay. I don't know, but I thought it looked really, really good graphically. I love the style. I thought that looked awesome. And it had like the what was that city that's in lockdown or whatever it is? I'm not sure. Or maybe it's like a abandoned city. But even like the idea of that was fascinating to me.
Yeah.
And then Rise of the Ronin, which was a Team Ninja game,
Okay.
which
Well, this is
Also-
interesting because obviously what's going to set this apart from Ghost of Tsushima, right? Like this
hard,
looked
probably.
a bit more like it was more sort of tied to like samurai cinema, whereas Ghost of Tsushima was really good fun, but I felt it was like, oh, it's Far Cry with samurai and ninja stuff, right?
Yeah.
Which was really good fun, but I didn't get that feeling of like, like samurai cinema is like samurai shows up in a town and just fucking everything kicks off, right? Like this sort of huge influence on like the places they go through. Whereas I never really got that with Ghost of Tsushima. Whereas this looks like it's going for that a bit more, maybe. I don't know. I mean, Team Ninja, so the combat should be all right. But
It looked nice. Really nice.
and then finally we had a God of War stuff.
John
because-
texted me in the week and said, "Have you seen that God of War trailer?" And I was like, "I don't want to watch it.
Yep, same here.
Buy that
Everyone-
game. I do not want to
Everyone
watch
said
that
it
trailer.
was an incredible trailer, but I haven't watched the last two. I don't need to. I don't want to
It's
spoil
going
it.
to be a good
No one
game.
can get it. I know it probably be a Stone Cold 10.
Yeah.
But I was really tempted this time because everyone's like, I know you don't watch trailers. I know you haven't seen the last couple of trailers, but this one is stunning. So I'm still going to hold off. But
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
really-
going to play that game when it comes out.
hell yeah.
No doubt it'd be amazing. So I don't want to see. As I said, the amount of times I've played a game and I've been well into it and I've been pulled out of it for 15 minutes because I'm like, oh, this is that bit in that game. Like even the fucking Spider-Man game. So oh this is the level from the Spider-Man games. So yeah, I
James,
avoided
have you
that.
It looked
What's
good. So there you go.
Games
It looked good, yeah.
It looked good, yeah.
Well, so Dave, I didn't watch that trailer, but I was like, oh, I'll watch the trailer about the controller because there's a God of War Ragnarok trailer, and I'm like, fucking hell! Obviously they're showing bits in the trailer here, and I was like, I've seen something I didn't want to see.
What about the new controller they've got out?
Yeah, there's
They're
obviously.
showing bits-
It's- I was like, obviously, but
yeah, that's
yeah,
annoying.
there's a controller coming, but yeah, I don't need to see a trailer now. That's gonna be I can't wait for that game. Can't wait.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, next story is that PSVR 2 won't work
Okay.
with
No
PSVR
overall
games.
feeling. It was a bit of a weak one. I will say just before we move on, it was a weak one, but they warned us it was going to be a weak one.
Yeah.
Nintendo did not give us that courtesy. It's been that way. I'm quite
The worst thing
happy.
about the Nintendo one is that we're not going to get another one of those until like next year,
I
probably.
know,
Yeah.
I know, it's bad, isn't it?
Yeah, that was their big September one.
What's their Christmas game?
Bayonetta.
Bayonetta.
Bayonetta, right?
No,
Oh,
Pokemon.
rad.
No, they got Pokemon game coming out as well.
Oh god, yeah, Scarlet and Violet. Yep.
Yeah,
Oh,
that'll be
okay.
cool.
of course. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I'll be
Okay.
Pokemon.
Go on.
Gonna catch as many as you can.
Go on.
So PSVR 2 isn't going to work with PSVR games either.
What?
So,
No way.
I mean,
didn't
as soon
hear
as
this.
I-
Are you having a laugh?
As soon as I
No,
thought about
true.
it, I was like, yeah, I get it because they use opposite tracking
It's
systems,
totally
right? That's that the
Obvious,
issue.
yeah.
Update them. There's not many of them.
It's true.
There's
There's not many
a
worth
lot
updating.
Are they hold on?
Come on.
Are they going to release PSVR2 versions of, say, Astrobot and all that, and
I
make you
mean,
pay for them?
They're going the Nintendo
wonder.
way, aren't
There's no way. They've got Astrobot, which is one of the best fucking VR games out there, right? There's no way they're not bringing that to PSVR2 in summer.
Or you'd be hoping that there'd be a new one that it will launch with.
That's
That's what I'm really hoping for.
Fine. But the original one needs to be on there as well.
I mean, maybe the original one will be on the PlayStation Premium service.
Right. Every time Matt says anything about VR, it just sounds like he's revealing something he already knows. Right. I'll be honest with you. Matt works in VR. It just honestly, every time he's like, well, maybe it'll be. So just rail down.
If I knew anything, I wouldn't be saying about it, would I?
That's true.
I don't know. You are quite thick.
Harsh.
Very harsh.
Needlessly harsh.
Yeah, for technical reasons, I understand why this is a thing, but yeah, clearly it is a blow because surely people were hoping that, like, I mean, bearing in mind, like, you can plug an old, an original PSVR into a PS5 and get some performance benefits and stuff.
You need the adapter.
Oh, is it? Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So even that is like fucking hell.
But you would think, like, certainly if I had a PS5 and original PSVR, I would have assumed PSVR2 was going to work with my existing library.
Why would you cut off the catalogue? You've got a catalogue of VR games, for fuck's sake.
It means Bridge Crew is not going to be on there.
Oh god, yeah, because they're not going to bother porting that, are they? They're just going to leave that.
Yeah, this is the problem. It's all going to be ports, and then they're going to make you pay for them again.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I hope they don't do that. I really hope they don't do that.
Of course they will. It's going to be like that.
What the fuck, man? What are they doing?
But this is the least surprising thing ever. I mean, it's like, as Sean said, totally different. Totally different tracking systems. Yeah, like totally different. Like, yes, obviously the developers can update stuff, but this, I was like, I mean, obviously this is going to happen.
Okay.
They've used fucking like iToy and Move technology before. Now,
Matt does know what he's talking about with this, Dave.
Yes,
you can't just sort of sit there and just go, "Oh, come on, this is ridiculous."
Right?
It's
okay.
like there
Yes,
are
I can.
technical reasons.
Because a consumer's going to give a shit about that. Are they going to care about its different?
Well, this is it, because there's understanding that there is.
Why does my PSVR games not work?
There's understanding.
Possible?
Yeah, there's understanding that there is a technical barrier there, but then it's perfectly reasonable to ask the questions like, yes, but why can't you overcome that? Like,
then Matt's just explained, and then you're just like, come on.
No. His explanation is they're different systems.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fine, make it work. That's what consumers want.
Mm-hmm.
They don't give a shit. They're not going to go, oh, right, okay, yeah, I'll buy it again.
Yeah, but it's like...
What?
I mean, they're used to doing that on Switch, aren't they?
Yeah, but we're talking about Sony. They're used to it on Sony, actually.
Yeah, like backwards compatibility is a thing, and yes, it's not always easy, but it's been done.
You don't see this as a problem, then? No.
Me?
Either of you, James, Matt. You don't see it as a problem.
No, it's not seeing it as a problem, but what it is that if the technology is so different in the way it's implemented, that it makes it really almost like really, really difficult to do, or impossible to do.
Okay.
Why would you do it?
Well, all I'll say is that I don't think consumers really give a shit about the problems. They just care about the results.
Mm-hmm.
Right. All I'm going to say is, like, this is Sony who believe in generations or don't believe in generations. Like Microsoft would do whatever it took. Microsoft would do whatever it took to like make sure they work. But Sony's like, fuck off, just buy stuff on the new one. Obviously. Yeah,
but they didn't do that though. They went back on that, didn't they? Because they changed all their games to make sure that they come out on the PS4 as well.
Yeah, but now that I don't know. I mean, I'm not surprised from a technical point of view, but I'm sure developers could update their games if they wanted to.
All right.
Okay, so that's that happened.
What's next?
No, because you just don't make any sense at
all. Okay, all right, okay, it's fine. It's fine then. Everyone should understand the limitations of.
No, there are sometimes limitations to things. It's like if I've got a car that's a petrol car, I shouldn't go. Oh, I should be able to put diesel in this. Why can't I do that? I'm a consumer. I should be able to do that.
What? That's not the same thing at all.
Of course it is, because they're
two. It's like taking it to the garage and it coming back and saying we've changed it for a diesel car.
No, because they're two different systems.
Why?
No, James, that's like if that situation had happened off the back of like a decade of most cars taking either or,
Yeah.
diesel or unleaded.
Or buying a car and saying, actually, this isn't petrol or diesel, it's a completely new proprietary fuel system.
Yeah,
that you
and then
can't
so
fill
then you
up
have
anywhere.
to use the new proprietary
Why?
system. You don't have to. You don't because
Can you not
offers
just
other
put a petrol
benefits.
engine on it?
Because
Nah.
it offers other benefits to why you've done that.
Okay, all right.
Dave, you
Go
should
on,
have
what's
bought the Microsoft car. That would work with everything. Unleaded, diesel, petrol, electric.
You can piss in the fucking thing, it'll still go. Go on.
So like we believe in car generations.
Go on, James.
See, now we've got the Idea Xbox showcase.
I mean, we can skim this, right?
Yeah. I didn't
Yeah,
even know
please.
this was a thing. Go on.
I mean, a lot of it was just games that were already out.
Okay.
And it was just like, is something good, or games we already knew were coming? So like, there was a bit about like Metal Hellsinger, which is great. There's a bit about You Suck at Parking, which is also great. But these were all known quantities. It's just like, hey, this is out soon. Like, these are games that came out sort of last week. I think it's not in the summary that I'm just skimming over now, but I think this is where they announced that like the console versions of Norco and Hard Space Shipbreaker are happening, which I'm very, very pleased about both of those.
So
Okay.
everyone needs to play Norco. I absolutely loved that earlier this year. So is that October sometime, isn't it, Sean?
I think they're both October the 20th.
Yeah, everyone listening, and none of you have played it, have you? Norco is fantastic. Well worth playing.
It's one I've had on the list like ever since it came out, but obviously now that it's on the big telly,
Well-
that's going to make that a lot easier. I mean,
Yeah,
the
the Game
20th,
Plus release,
as in yesterday, by the time you hear this as a podcast, hell of a day for Game Pass. Well, on console at least. So yeah, Norco, Hard Space Shipbreaker, and I know it's not in the news, James, but as part of the Tokyo Game Show presentation, they're like, oh yeah, fucking Deathloop is coming out
Oh,
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
Xboxes.
Another excellent game as well.
Yeah, so
Didn't get on with it. Did not get on with it, baby.
Love that game. It was a great game.
It fell apart after it started
Game
testing. Really fell apart about 3 hours in, baby. Yeah, go on.
We led the game. Okay,
I beg
Okay.
your pardon.
we
What
led the
was
game.
Okay, let's stop with it. Yep.
Are we okay? Should we move on to the next story? Can we do that?
Yeah.
'Cause it's-
We led the
it's
game.
I mean, there was other games that probably turn out to be great. It's just
Yeah, I mean,
for
I
the sake
guess the
of-
biggest one from this list is the fact that Valheim, the massive PC smash, is coming to only PC Game Pass. I thought it'd be console as well, but that's obviously massive on
huge.
PC.
Can
So.
we move on? Yeah. Matt's
What?
like, no. Go on.
What is
Jay.
next?
Phil Spencer says that Xbox is going to continue with its merger and acquisition activity so that it can remain competitive. He said,
Alright.
he said here, when you look at the investments that
He
we've made,
said here.
when you look at the investments, come on, this has been nearly 2 hours of like just the news. It's
Fucking hell,
ridiculous.
honestly, just do the podcast.
When you look at the investments that we've made, it's a highly, highly competitive market. We strive to be a major player here, so the work never ends for us. And then he had a dig at Sony by saying, I can definitely say we have no plans to raise the price of our consoles. And then he winked.
Okay. There we go.
Cool, we wink. Cool.
But then also other stuff from Microsoft. People have been leaving 343, including the co-founder and director of engineering.
And the
so this
players.
is the corporate vice president of Xbox Game Studios and head of 343 Industries. Bonnie Ross has announced that she is leaving because she said this was to attend to a family medical issue. And then also, this is like heavily rumoured at the moment, but not 100% confirmed. But also, the studio's director of engineering, David Berger, is also leaving the company as well. But again, not 100% confirmed.
Want to work at McDonald's.
But it's going to happen.
More
Yeah.
secure career. Did anyone see?
Burger, David Burger.
I linked this in the group, but I think it was at like 1 a.m. I don't know if anyone watched it. Digital Foundry managed to get a build of Halo Infinite with the split screen enabled. I can't remember.
Oh
They
yeah,
hacked it
there's a
somehow.
workaround.
Yeah,
There's a
I saw-
workaround.
Yeah,
It was
there's a
like you had
workaround,
to-
yeah. And they were
you
just
load
like-
into a cutscene and then cut out
Right,
and it goes
okay.
multiplayer.
But yeah, they were just like, yeah, it's absolutely fine. I don't understand why they haven't released this.
No, that's not what was said.
Okay,
But-
sorry.
So, yes, it worked for the vast majority of it,
Mhm.
but there was several game breaking
Okay.
bugs and
Okay.
problems.
Okay.
You know, what was interesting is that clearly a lot of work had been put into it because it had, you know, it could detect how far you were away and it had a way to rectify that by giving someone a warning, and if you didn't return, you died and then spawned next to them. So clearly it had been worked on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it hadn't been finished.
Right.
So that was the situation where I don't get what's gone on with Halo Infinite. It's the fucking weirdest thing. I don't understand. I'm sure there'll be reports about it at some point down the line. But really, here's a game. Everyone thinks it looks shit. Let's delay it for ages. Oh, we've actually think it's good now. It comes out. It's fucking brilliant. And then they go, just forget about it now. It's called Halo Infinite, though. Don't worry about it. They're going to chop stuff out of it and delay everything. And fucking hell. What a way to kill Halo, eh?
Weird,
I don't think they've killed it yet, but it needs something. Right. And these people who worked there for a long time leaving is not good look either.
No, even if it is, I mean, you know, even if it is just for personal reasons, it's still worrying, isn't it?
Yes. Is that it?
No, I've got one last bit, but I'll keep this really quickly.
I mean, thank God there's only 2 questions, because can you imagine how James would be just fucking deleting stuff left, right, and centre?
Oh, yeah. Because we wouldn't want James moaning.
No.
No, because the reason I was hesitant with this story is because it's like Yakuza or rather, you know, like a Dragon news, because they had their RG. Sorry,
Had its own showcase, didn't it?
Yeah. This week where they announced like a whole bunch of new games. So, you know, they got a new mainline Like a Dragon 8 is coming in 2024, and that is with the new person, but also Kiryu is returning as well, which I'm honestly a bit disappointed in.
I've seen a lot of people saying this. Yeah.
Yeah, I was hoping that there's 3 new games coming, and he is involved in 2 of those, which is, you know, one of them is like a side story one, which fair enough. It's like, you know, it's to continue whatever happened after the 6th game. But then I don't know. I just like the idea that they were making a break with that, and now it seems that they're not, and they're going back to it again, which is a bit of a shame.
It's like he's a brilliant character, but yeah, I understand. You know, as a relative outsider, I understand that basically Yakuza 6 like ended his story, and it was cool to see them clearly trying to enter a new era where it's new main characters. And as I say, you know, you had like Judgment and stuff, which was like a further break from the series because you weren't a member of the Yakuza anymore. You're a detective and all this stuff. And so yeah, it speaks to like a lack of confidence, doesn't it? They're like, oh, actually, no, we're putting Kiryu back in. Sorry.
I mean, they bottled it with the end of the 6th game. Honestly, I thought.
Oh, really?
You know, with that, yeah, and so it, you know, which was one of the reasons we're in this situation now. I think, you know, it's kind of a shame, but yeah, I mean, I obviously I'm looking forward to these, but although the 8th one is going to be turn-based again, but the other ones are going to be what they're calling classic gameplay, which means you know, punching and stuff. So that's pretty cool.
Love punching.
Is that what that means? It's got punching stuff. It's got punching and stuff.
It's got punching. It's classic game for
Remember the punching? Remember the punching in the games? They used to have punching in games, but these days it's all menus. So they're putting the punching back in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of.
Oh, could that be the episode title? They're putting the punching back in.
Punching and stuff. Punching and stuff.
Yeah, and we were really getting calls for it to be the episode title in the chat. Right, okay. Are we done with the news?
Well, there is a fantasy zone as well.
Are you kidding? I haven't prepped the video. We're just sorry.
Sean. Okay.
We don't need a video, Sean. Don't worry about it.
Fine.
This is the new. We don't need a video.
That's true. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Right, let's go to the fantasy zone. Before we do that, can I just go and get a quick drink if we're going to stop and edit the fantasy zone?
Yeah, go for it.
Be 2 secs.
We'll talk amongst ourselves. Or just sit in silence. I don't know. Are you going to... Oh, fucking hell. You're just going to leave me on my own. Jesus. I mean, we do have a Be Right Back screen, but I have no reason to... It's alright, you can go, James. It's fine. I was just talking... Right, anyone got any questions for me while we wait for everyone else to have a bit? I mean, I sort of need a wee, but not. I don't know. Getting up, it's a lot of work, isn't it? Xenoblade Progress, no, because games keep coming out. Oh, there we go. Dave's back. All right. The stream is holding up, Phil. It's
nice
finally we're back on track.
Excellent.
Everything's all right.
James, are
Fine.
you, we're cool, right?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Oh, you were getting really pissed off a couple of times. didn't you?
I'm having an apple saft to make myself feel better.
Nice.
Apfel.
It's gut and gunstig. That means good and cheap, which is
Is that what it means? Fucking
it
hell.
literally means good and cheap.
People tell you you can't have both, and
Not like
yet
me.
look at this. That's
This is the brand of Edeka, good and gunstig. Yeah.
How's
Dragon
your
Claw's
journey
asking
coming
when are we doing the As Dusk Falls spoiler cast.
Fucking hell. I'd forgotten it.
It seems like a lifetime ago now,
yeah,
doesn't
I'm
it?
probably not going to do it.
Yeah.
Good game, though.
Very good game.
But just except for that last little bit. I can't even remember what the last little bit is. But I remember thinking, like, the last scene was playing out. And I remember thinking, what a fucking brilliant game. What a great story. And then there was like a line at the end and I went, what? I need to go back and watch the ending again because it was fucking insanity.
As Dusk Falls.
As Dusk Falls.
Oh, right,
Like
Cor-
the last line had to do with the granddad.
Okay. Koromori 2004 is saying, is this the after show or the main show? Neither. This is Piss Break.
Oh, this is, yeah. Okay. Right. Ready?
Yeah.
Oh, look at this.
Woof.
The fantasy zone. It's all sweaty as I
I've been in for so long.
It's all very muggy
as I
in the fantasy
slipped
zone.
through the yeah, it makes me feel like the mudathon that I did, where you're slipping through tunnels of mud
Yeah.
and then plopping out the other side like a massive shit.
It's called the ecosystem. I don't like it.
Here we are in the fantasy zone, where what's that over there? PSVR games working on PSVR2. Whoa, this is a fantasy.
Crazy
How
topsy-turvy world.
But think of the devs, Dave. Well, I will think of the devs because that's what I give a shit about when I make my consumer purchases. James, what's going on in the fantasy zone, mate?
You finished?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so I mean, okay, I have to give credit to Matt for this fantasy zone because he gave me the tip off.
You're letting Matt
for
insert things into your section again, James.
No, because this one's legit.
So was that
This is a
Sean?
good one. This
God,
is a good one.
is it?
This is
Cool.
legit.
It's legit. Well, what's he doing in the fantasy zone of it?
Well, no, it's a
Grand Theft
legit.
Auto 6 was leaked. Oh, God.
The graphics are bad, I've heard. Go on, James. Sorry.
Matt is my fantasy. You know.
Oh,
Clip that.
Yep.
That's good. Let's get it out
This
tomorrow.
is fantasy zone.
In fact, actually, I'm clipping that tonight. That's getting out. Go on.
Anyway,
Dirty BB house.
this is the thing. So apparently, what it is. I can't stop laughing now. This is stupid.
I'm listening to the thing.
Yeah.
Apparently, Sony are going to release a new variant of the PS5,
All
which
right.
is going to be version D, because there's been A, B, and C so far.
Right.
So version D is going to be it's going to be a single. This is going to replace all of the existing ones that there are that are they're coming out. So there's only one, and it's going to have a detachable disk drive. So then what will happen is the disk drive will connect. No, shut up, listen. The disk drive will connect via USB-C with an additional port on the back of the machine.
No, it's
Now,
not.
the purpose of this is that when I say disk drive, I'm talking Blu-ray drive here, not hard drive.
Yeah.
So they'll all
No,
have
it's
hard
not.
drives in them, and then what they'll be able to do is they can manufacture one machine, and then if you
No,
want,
it's not.
if you want one with a Blu-ray drive, you just
No.
buy one, and it's a plug-in one, or you buy it later, if you want to. That's
It's
that's
not.
the thing.
No, it's not.
That's the rumor. That's the rumor.
Fucking bollocks.
I mean, it makes
Where have you heard this?
it makes some
No, it
sense,
doesn't,
right?
Sean. Don't say that.
No,
Don't say
because
that really fuck me off if you say
It
that.
they're having
total
trouble
sense.
making the fucking things because of component shortages and stuff. So it makes sense to reduce it to one SKU,
Yeah, one machine.
They've
with
done
then an
this before.
optional.
Sorry,
Go on.
they've done it before where you've had a digital and a disk drive version, and all they do is take the disk drive out and just leave the space in the console, then
No,
sell
don't
them at
do
two different
that.
prices. It saves you building a fucking separate completely different product and shipping it to people that would just buy it anyway. Like, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. No, oh, I want a console that I can put this into. Well, yeah, you can have that, but the disc drive is over here.
Oh, I mean, it'll look like shit if they are doing this. I don't think it's going to look good at all.
No chance.
Well,
No chance.
Are you saying that Insider Gaming are wrong?
How many Twitter followers have they got? How many Twitter followers have they got?
I don't know. I think this is going to happen.
Look them up. Go onto their website. Have you got a link to their website?
Yeah.
Go onto their Twitter follow. Let me see how many Twitter followers
I'll
they've
just
got.
check.
Go on.
9,200 followers.
Okay,
Well, it's more than us.
more than us.
More than us.
More than us. We can't.
It doesn't take much.
It's a scoop.
I think it makes sense.
Go on. Why do you think it makes sense?
Because then they just need to manufacture one machine. They haven't got to have like 2 different machines.
They could do the same, but just leave a space there. If they really wanted to do that, they'd rather just leave the space rather than. There's no way they're having. There's no way their main console with the disc drive is going to be a console with a thing hanging off the end of it. It's not going to happen.
Well, no, because in the article it says that it will be so that you can like plug it in so that it doesn't look like awful or whatever. You know, it's
what do you mean?
So there's going to be a big hole in the chassis.
So there's going to be a hole in the chassis.
Yeah.
Let me read what it says.
No, maybe they can make it smaller, better looking.
Oh, Matt knows something.
Wouldn't take much.
That's what this piece
He
says.
says he works in the industry, then he knows
That's
that.
what the piece says.
This is what it says. It says sources have implied that although the new detachable disc drive is portable, it will not ruin the aesthetics of the console and will attach
because
to
they're
it without
already
looking
dreadful.
external. Presumably meaning the PS5 will look similar to the existing model.
So it's already going to look terrible.
Well, don't do that. If you're doing a new one, don't do that. Do a redesign.
Don't make it look like the worst console, the worst looking
Don't
console
do what you've
ever
already
made.
done. Totally redesign it. Change it, please.
Okay.
I mean, all I'll say is, like, in terms of the hole in the chassis sounds ridiculous, but PS2 had a big fucking space in it for a hard drive.
In the back of it.
Yeah.
The PS2 though. I will say this, James. If I'm wrong about this and you are right, then I will give you a full apology.
Okay.
I'll give you a full apology on the show. I'm very confident that this is not going to happen.
Okay.
Okay. Next.
James, aren't there terms and conditions whereby you can't legally be done because it's part of the fantasy zone?
Well, I suppose so. He's only reporting the rumours. But I will still apologise.
Yeah, but James is backing it. He's not like.
That's true.
He's not just reading it out and being like, "Oh, listen to this stupid bollocks." He's like, "No, listen to this. This is happening."
That's why I put this in here because I think this does sound credible to me.
It does to me. Right. I mean, I can see them bringing out a disc drive that you can attach to your discless PS5. I can see that happening. If they announce that, that wouldn't surprise me. I can't see them redesigning the PS5 and saying, yeah, it's discless, but you can buy the add-on. Like, they will still provide it.
They'll sell it so that you can either buy one with the add-on with it or one without.
Right, okay, yeah, but what I'm saying is that if they do that, it's going to be part of the main console and not like something just stuck into it. Like, it's not going to be that. That would be madness, right? They've already made some of the shittest design decisions with this fucking console.
Exactly. This is why I can totally see them doing
that bad. They can't go that bad. That would be mad.
But this would make sense. All factory lines just making one single console, another one's making a disc drive. Done.
Saying that because. Okay, you can do the same, but just not include the console, the disc drive. That is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but why design
different of the PS5 with the disc?
Yeah, it is. But there's been other consoles where they've had disc drives in and disc drives out, and they've just left the space. That's what I've said. I'm trying to remember, didn't they do that? Didn't Xbox do that once? They did a digital version, and it just instead of having the slot, it just had a bit of plastic over the front of it.
Yeah, it's like the One S.
One S. Yeah, the One S did it, didn't it? That's what they'll do.
I think this is a great idea. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. I think it's a great idea. What, like the old? Do you remember the HD DVD drive?
Yeah.
For your 360.
I've seen
great
post
format.
that already.
R.I.P.
A nice one. All right.
I've got Fearless and TMNT 2008 on HD DVD.
Do you know what? I'm genuinely like, this is a hot tip from your old mate Davey T. Get down to CEX because they sell 4K Blu-ray films for like £3 or £4 now.
Yeah.
If you buy them brand new, they're like 25 quid.
Who's
The
putting
second-hand ones are like £3.
who wants a disc cluttering out their house, David?
Well,
Mate,
if you want to watch
honestly-
it after it fucking falls off Prime or Netflix,
Yeah,
then
if you want to be like, I think I'm going to get the next Spider-Man film on that because it's not on Disney Plus, and I want to watch it in 4K. And the 4K on those discs are way better than the streaming 4K.
Oh no,
Yeah.
undoubtedly.
So yeah, me is the answer to that, Matt. I don't mind doing that.
I've never watched the Blu-ray. Never.
Never.
Why?
bullshit.
Never have.
They never
Never bought
PS3.
one. I didn't own a PS3.
Oh, that's why.
Right.
It is way better than the streaming stuff.
Oh
It
yeah,
is.
massively. Yeah.
Yeah. And CEX is like £1 or £2. Like it's nuts. It's ridiculous.
Mate, when I got my PS3, that was the big selling point. I got to watch Transformers. Didn't play games or anything because there weren't no
What was
games
the
at the
game?
time.
What was the game that I got? The film that I got with mine, Casino Royale.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was another
Great
big one,
movie.
wasn't it? Yeah.
Great
see-
movie.
Oh my god! Look at him running through that town. That looks
Somewhere
that
in
looks
Europe.
Look at him coming out of the water.
really so sharp. Okay, we done with your fantasy zone.
Yeah, we're done.
Now 2 hours 15 minutes in.
James
What you
sounds
been
like he's done with a lot of things.
What you been playing? Splatoon 3. It's the same as Splatoon 2.
It's really good
does
though, isn't
anyone
it?
really want to talk about anything else this week?
I mean, I finished Splatoon 3, the single player.
Okay.
Yeah, no, James, tell me about the end boss.
It's the worst thing ever. It's the last boss is terrible, and the reason it's terrible is because there's a horrible I would say there's a horrible difficulty spike at the end, and it gets to the point where it doesn't explain what you're supposed to do
And you've been upgrading. You've been using the upgrades and everything.
Yeah, fully upgraded, completely upgraded. The actual part with the splatting stuff that was fine. That's completely fine. But then after that, it transitions into a different style of gameplay, and they don't really explain what you're supposed to do.
Okay.
And it's quite frustrating and annoying.
Yeah.
I'm working through the single player at the moment. I'm finding it incredibly dull. Like
Really?
I just find it so fucking. But here's a level. I did one level today where it was like find the switches and shoot them.
Oh
and
yeah.
Then it does it. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Rubbish.
okay. And I couldn't find one for ages.
Yeah.
And then I found it and I went, okay, done. End of
Yeah,
level.
it's not like aha, that's very clever. It was just like, what the fuck do you put a switch there for?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, great. So I've just looked around for this for ages, and it was boring, and now I'm at the end of it. There's been a lot of levels where it's just been, get up to the top using the sponges. It's not fun to do, though.
You see, there's a couple of levels in it that I think are pretty good, but overall, I don't understand why people were saying that this is amazing
shit.
and all that kind of
It's
thing,
shit.
because it's
Splatoon
I
3
wouldn't
is...
say it's amazing. I'll say it was good. I enjoyed it. I wouldn't say it's no. Has anyone been saying it's amazing?
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
there was
reviews
that were all reviews that were
saying it's all this is so
Mario-esque.
creative and it's so
Yeah, yeah.
all that kind
I
of
haven't
stuff.
seen them.
It's worth buying the game just for the single player.
Yeah, that's the quote that I've read a couple of times. And I mean, honestly, I'm starting to get frustrated with Splatoon 3 because I'm kind of like, I'm not seeing the progression here now. I'm not getting that, that hit of, oh, this is why I'm doing all this. I'm just doing which is good fun. Like, don't get me wrong, it's brilliant to play. But I'm getting to the end of the games. I'm playing like 3 or 4 games in a row and just going, but I don't see how I'm getting any further in anything that I'm doing.
The most annoying thing I'm getting at the moment is disconnects and stuff.
There's been a few of those.
Rare,
Yeah,
though.
that is a
That is pretty
problem.
rare, though.
Really?
Like you can
There
go
was-
like
there was a
4 or
patch
5
this week
games
as well.
without-
There was
Did it
apparently,
happen?
apparently there's going to be fewer disconnects now. But no, I mean in terms of the progression and stuff, I think it could definitely be quicker. But they've built in more of the stuff around. Because are you like scrubbing abilities and stuff, Dave, from your
No,
gear?
I haven't been doing that.
So basically, this was something in Splatoon 2 was sort of quite high level, whereas in
Yeah,
this
it
it's
was,
like
yeah, I remember,
right off
yeah.
the bat, you can pretty much start doing this stuff basically. So you're earning abilities, but they're always randomized on your gear. Every time you get new abilities, and it'll be something completely random, and it might not be something that you want. The idea is basically, and you're especially supposed to do this during Splatfest, because you get the Splatfest tea, which unlocks abilities more quickly. So basically, you're supposed to unlock abilities, rinse them from the gear. Then from that you then get ability chunks, which when you've got 10 of an ability chunk for a certain ability, you can then spend them to apply it to a piece of gear. So the idea is, you're working towards like an actual build, like a set of abilities. So like when when you're playing against a pro, because they'll have like so they'll have a piece of gear where it's like 4 of the same ability because they all stack, and that's when you start to get like really noticeable effects from some of them. So that means they've spent a long time going out of their way to like build that.
The other thing that's suddenly hit me this week is that matches are 3 minutes long, right?
Mm-hmm.
First 2 minutes don't mean shit.
Do you think?
I don't. I do. I genuinely think we could hammer a team for 2 minutes and then they bring it back in the last minute, and I'm like, all the work. I don't know. It's just it feels like it's kind of.
But that's any shooter though.
Seconds.
But it goes the other way. Like we said last week, like we've had matches where we thought we were fucked, and then we found a way through it, and we.
Yeah, you're right, and there are situations where you can dig in and stuff. But I don't know. I think I don't know. We'll see where I am. I'm still going to be playing it. I still play it pretty regularly.
Yeah, I mean I'm still loving it. I'm still really enjoying it.
Yeah, like the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah, since last week, I think I complained or talked about the level where I was in like the mist and I was using a sword. Did it again this week with a gun. Did it in like 25 seconds. So it's just a sword that was giving me issues. I've now finished all the levels, 100% of them, and I've opened the post game level, and I'm not going to bother. I tried for like half an hour. Got like a tiny bit in. I've seen YouTube videos. I'm not going to bother doing that. I mean, yeah, if you're into it, cool. But no, I think
are you gonna play the multiplayer with us now?
But I don't know. I'll play a bit. I'm not exactly like
Join us.
That's like the main point of the game. The campaign stuff's a sideshow. It's
just try it with us. You like it. Salmon Run. Salmon Run's alright, but
I fucking love Salmon Run. I think it's amazing.
But it's so similar to the last one, Sean, that I'm sitting there just going, "Oh my god, I can't believe there's not more to this."
Yeah, but we never really got to play that. Like I never really got to play Salmon Run with mates. It was like something I sort of dabbled in. Whereas in this, it's like because it's on all the time and it's easier to play with friends. I'm like, yes, fucking let's play loads of Salmon Run. It is annoying playing with strangers because they're often bad, and you can just lose and it's not really your fault. But
Okay. All right. Splatoon 3. I mean, there are more games in front of me. Shout if you're desperate, but we are 2 hours 20 minutes in.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, so this week I've been playing Metal Hellsinger, You Suck at Parking, and Trombone Champ. I mean, the first two I would ask you all to play, and then we'll talk about them next week because I think you'll like.
Yeah,
both
I played
of them.
a bit of You Suck at Parking, but not enough to form an opinion.
Yeah.
Is Hellsinger on Game Pass?
Hellsinger is on Game Pass.
Everyone's saying it's amazing. So although I watched the trailer of it, I was like, this is just Doom, the last Doom game. So but I need to shut the fuck up and play it.
Yep.
Trombone Champ, watch Sean's stream. It's fucking amazing.
God, that was fun.
Matt,
have a look on
Last of Us Part 1. Should we do that next week?
No, I mean we're in 2 hours 20. Why are we rushing?
Okay, all right, Matt. Matt wants to get his last.
I want to hear about Sean's games. I mean, we've got one question or two questions.
Got 2 questions.
So Hellsinger's on Xbox Game Pass.
Yes.
I've downloaded You Suck at Parking. That's good. Trombone Champ. That's PC only, right, Sean?
It is PC only, sadly. Yes.
Last of Part 1. I'll be quick. I finished it. Still absolutely. What? Are we not talking about it?
No, but you just turned around and said, I want to talk about Sean's games. And you just went, Mel Hellsinger Game Pass, You Suck at Parking Game Pass, Trombone Champ, that's PC only. Right, The Last of Us Part 1.
I thought you were watching me. I saw James's face and I thought, okay, quickly move on. No, I want to hear more.
Reference James's face. Last of Us Part 1, Matt. Still a good game, is it?
No worries.
Still a good game, is it?
Yeah, still devastating.
Devastating. Well, I still think that is probably the best ending. Probably my favourite ending to a video game ever. I loved how that ended. That look, the discussion that they had, the way it just ended was just so good. And then it's got fucking giraffes in it, isn't it?
I mean, that giraffe moment is still beautiful. I still think it's amazing.
It is amazing.
And the ending, seeing it a second time now, still devastating, still incredible, and I loved it. I think I complained first time about the last level being basically a massive shooting gallery. I didn't find it much of an issue this time because I did, stealth. I stealthed it a bit, and also the whole game's shooting. So maybe I felt differently first time, but yeah, absolutely stunning. I'm so glad I played it again, and yeah, fucking just what a game, what a game.
Yeah, I didn't mind that last level too much. I thought it was fine. But all that, the winter stuff, the fucking fight in the house where you're playing as someone other than Joel, all of that stuff was just absolutely fantastic. I just, it's an old game now, isn't it?
Yeah,
Old game.
Wait, can we hear about you sucker parking, Sean?
Yeah, briefly. James, you all right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Checking.
Go on, I'll hear all about this. Go on.
You Suck at Parking is on Game Pass, and it is a game where basically there's a series of levels where you have a little car and you drive it around an environment, and there are, like, in each level there's, like, 2 or 3 usually parking spots that you have to park in, and you cannot stop the car. Like, as soon as you stop the car, it is parked. So basically the idea is you sort of navigating these levels, which start out really simple. There'll be a couple of corners, and then there'll be a couple of corners, but you blow up if you touch them, and then there'll be ramps, and then there'll be fans and stuff, and there's, like, all sorts of these, like, hazards to navigate. And you can use as many cars as you want. So if you crash or you fall off the level or whatever, it's like fine, you just hit the reset button, you get another car, and you carry on. But you're limited in terms of time. Overall for the level, and also each car has a certain amount of fuel, so there might be okay, you can't stop the car, but you can sort of cheese it by just sort of driving around in circles for a second while you figure out what to do. However, the fuel thing limits that, right? Because you're going to find you can't reach some of the parking spots. But it's just proper good fun. It's, like, frustrating, but in a very funny way most of the time. Once the difficulty starts picking up, it's just, I don't know, it's just incredibly enjoyable. And I didn't realise, I played the demo a while back and was excited for it to come out. It's got full online multiplayer, and, like, you customise your car and stuff, and you get little unlocks, and you can change the colour and then dress it up with items and stuff like that.
Is online multiplayer race to the end then?
I'm not sure how it works. I guess it's, maybe it's just a race to, like, whoever gets, all the parking spots first. But it's just incredibly frantic, and it's one of those games, like, broadly speaking, I think trial and error stuff in games is shit and annoying, whereas this is a game pretty much entirely built on it, and it's just funny, and it's all right. So yeah, it is well worth a look.
And do, like, are the physics, like, annoying, or do you know exactly where you're going to put that car?
I mean, they're very cartoony physics, in terms of, so there's, like, jumps and stuff. The car's quite floaty, but it's predictable enough and consistent enough.
It's not like a gang piece or...
No, yeah. It's definitely it's tight enough that, like, you can get really good at this, and you can work on your times and stuff if you really want to get into the leaderboards and what have you. Really like it.
So
worth a go.
Focus on that is leaderboards, or is it just about getting through all the plethora of levels?
Oh, it's entirely up to you. Like, if you just want to do the levels, then move on, then fine. If you want to get involved in the leaderboards, you can. There's no, like, there's no, like, rewards for getting up the leaderboards or anything.
Yeah, I mean, I played it briefly.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get into it because I played it briefly.
Mm-hmm.
I will go back to it at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard nothing but good things, so I need to spend more time with it. But I'll get there.
Right, should we do questions?
Please.
If you want to send us a question, go to tcgs.co/Dear TCGS. Maria Mendieta says, Dear TCGS Quartet, podcast games are often recommended amongst gamers, but what is the tipping point that makes each of you tune out a game's audio in favour of hearing bantering podcasters? And is this disrespectful to the sound teams? I've noticed that the looped sounds in NES titles provide a perfect incentive to clear my backlog of podcasts. Keep up the terrific work. Sincerely, Maria.
I have only ever done this with one game, and that's Power Wash Sim.
Okay.
Yeah. Audio design is just fucking spraying.
I only do this with one game, and that's FIFA. I mean, I still have it, so I can still hear the. I can still hear the game. Like, I still have the sound on for the game.
Right. Oh, James, have you ever played FIFA while listening to football on the radio? because
Yeah, I
that is
think
the
I have
most
done, actually.
jarring thing ever.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
bet.
There'll be times where I'm like, can't believe fucking Millwall losing 2-1, and then I realise no, I'm losing 2-1 of FIFA, and actually Millwall 1-2 up, so it's okay, and then I calm down a little bit. But yeah, no, I've done that a couple of times.
I usually listen to podcasts when I'm playing that, but that's probably the only game that I ever do that with.
Yeah, I
Most
get
stuff
that.
I
I
prefer.
get that.
Because
But
I
yeah,
always
no,
feel like I want the
usually
full
fucking-
experience, you know?
Yeah, usually I hate the podcast game stuff when they talk about online or whatever. Yeah, it's very rare that I listen to a podcast while gaming.
You guys don't do that because I'll be missing the podcast. I know you can like hark
It's the
back to that time.
podcast you're worried about.
What's that?
It's the podcast you're worried about, not the game.
Yeah, because I haven't done it in a game, but even if I'm say like working, listening to a podcast, I'm like, okay, no, stop, rewind because I was focusing on something else. I can do it, and I know like people will hark back to that time I did it once on
Phoenix, right?
Phoenix Wright, yeah.
Well, you just
to
put that
see
on
what
mute.
see what the phenomenon was about.
Some of the most iconic game music of all time.
Yeah, I did that once on the train, but I don't do that. I'm not going to enjoy the game. I'm not going to hear the podcast.
Fair enough. I mean, I do it quite a lot.
Why?
But it's...
Fucking scum.
I mean, it depends on the game. If it's a game where there's basically no story, and I
us some
don't like the
examples.
music or whatever, then I will
Give
happily...
us some examples.
I mean, Destiny. That's a big one. If I'm playing
Wow, so
Destiny.
you would have no game audio, tiny audio.
Yeah, no, I still have the game audio on. I'll just have the phone next to me with the podcast on as well.
Okay.
I'll just miss out on the pod. I wouldn't be able to keep up with what they're saying. Don't think.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I say, if there's any dialogue going on in the game, then the podcast has to stop. And if it's even if the dialogue is like quite on and off, like it's too annoying having to pause the podcast. So it really has to be something where there's gonna be, like I don't care about any of the talking that's going on. But yeah, no, I find it quite a nice way of catching up with stuff. I mean, the question about it being disrespectful to the sound teams is valid. I mean, yeah, inherently, yes, it is, I suppose.
You're fucking them off for someone going, well, I don't like that game because you want to... Oh, God.
So yeah, it's interesting. But because something like Destiny, like the sound design is incredible, but then there are, if I'm listening to a podcast while playing it, it's because I'm doing stuff that's like repetitive in nature, and I've already done it a ton of times, and I've heard it properly once.
Yeah, I can see
Do you know what I mean?
Technically, freeze for me is
Oh, yeah.
Technically, yeah. There are more games like mobile games. Yeah, I tend to listen to stuff while I play them, but I don't think that counts.
Kurt Lewin says, hi chaps, we all know what huge fans of the Switch you are, but I've sometimes commented about games running with poor performance on there and that you'd like to see it running much better. So now that the Steam Deck has been out for a good while, have you changed your minds on potentially getting one? As other than having Switch exclusives, it seems to be a great way to play indie games without any performance issues and run some AAA games pretty well too. I remember you being a bit cool on the Steam Deck pre-release, so I just wondered if that had changed. I must admit, I thought Matt would have been all over on knowing his love of new gadgets. Cheers, Kurt.
He loves the gadget, that boy, but he
does.
couldn't get it day one. That's why he didn't do it.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, when my email came through to buy it, it was the start of summer where I had 4 weddings and stag do's to pay for, and I'm like, even me, it'd be pointless buying this because I'm just not going to get the use out of it. But not a week goes by where I don't think, everyone's talking about, everyone's loving it. People talking about how much more they're playing their PC or their indie games, and particularly my issues with Switch performance, as Kurt says, it does seem interesting. But I think at this point, again, it's not day one. I might as well wait for version 2.
Aren't they really expensive?
Depends which version you get.
350 or something, 380, I don't know.
Yeah.
380.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, if you want the basic one, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which I mean, the main problem with the basic one is the lack of storage, but you can just put an SD card in it. So
Yeah, get an SD card,
Yeah, you just get an SD card. I didn't know they were that cheap. I thought they were like 500-600 quid.
I mean, they can be if you go for the expensive ones, but yeah.
Yeah, but what's the expensive one get you? Is it just storage?
Bigger storage, maybe faster storage as well.
Yeah, basically it starts at 349, and you get 64 gig of slow storage basically. Next is 459, 256 of NVMe drive, so way faster. It's an SSD. And the top whack is 569 for 512 gigabyte NVMe SSD. You also get some other stuff like a carrying case, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they start 349.
Maybe I should have done that instead of got a Switch OLED. Maybe I should have done that because that's what John said to me, and I was like, "Isn't a Steam Deck like 600 quid?"
Yeah, I think a lot of people seem to think it's like a £1,000 device, not actually looking at prices.
No, I thought it was like around the £500 mark, and I was like, "Well, I'm not going to spend." And also, I've heard that actually it still needs a bit of work software-wise.
So the software's sorted now, I think. Like when it came out, there were issues.
Where you just like
Everyone's,
launch a game and not worry about it, or
as far as
still
I'm
got
aware,
fuck
yeah,
around with it.
everyone's saying that like they've been really good with the software support on it. So yeah,
Well-
it's. I mean, if my PC blew up tomorrow, I would probably replace it with like a quite nice laptop and a Steam Deck. I reckon.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you would always want to have like a big tower thing, no?
If I get away with not having one, that'd be really nice.
Really?
Like if I get a laptop that was good enough to like run a half decent stream,
Yeah.
and because the Steam Deck's got, you can output the video to a monitor or capture device or anything.
Yeah, you
I
get
know, I
a
suppose you're not playing the
Steam
AAA
Deck.
games or whatever.
Well,
are
exactly. Yeah, the PC gaming, I generally do indie stuff. So
you? Okay.
Dunno.
It does look tempting, definitely, but everyone says maybe you should wait for version 2. But
Well, it'd be interesting. The four of us, I think, could give a really interesting view on the Steam Deck if we all had one. We give it a really good review, to our
agree.
amazing listener base.
we can put together a whole coverage plan if we were all to receive one.
Unfortunately,
post.
we do not have them, so that's a shame, isn't it?
Gabriel's listening. Get in
It
touch.
would be very helpful to us and to.
Do not
Valve.
ship
And
to
to our
Germany.
community.
If you don't ship to Germany, don't worry about it. And
Well, James will have 6 within a month anyway.
I will say I still don't like the look of the thing. I haven't seen one in real life. I do think it's a little bit ugly.
Well, they're AGX, Sean.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I'll have a look. See if I can nick one.
They are
mean
they are massive.
Yeah.
Go out to a Steam person. and
Yeah,
say,
just be like, I'll do a little podcast.
No, little podcast. Have you heard what we did in Sheffield? We took
That's true.
Sheffield by fucking storm, mate.
We did, to be fair.
Are we done with the podcast this week? That's the question
Yes,
James
I think
wants
so.
to ask. He's not said a word.
Yeah, his
for
eyes are
about
like-
an hour.
That's not true. I've
He's
said a whole
gonna
bunch
need
of
matches
words.
to.
Oh yeah, James.
Some of them
Name
in sentences.
Matt, should we get to the socials, mate?
Yeah, there's no streams this week because Sean and James are both busy, and rightly so. So no streams, but you can watch our previous ones, including Trombone Champ, and also Sean put a Hot Wheels card together.
I did.
They're all on the YouTube channel.
I have not seen that. Oh,
Yeah, I
shit.
did.
Okay, I'm watching that.
Well, 'cause I've been sort of threatening that, like, because Sea of Thieves is sort of winding down, and I was thinking of doing like a streaming series where I just make stuff, and I was thinking, I was thinking I could call it Bell's Bedtime Builds.
You talk
Yes.
about the possible
Brilliant.
Lego stuff.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wanted free Lego for a while, and you're going to get all the free Lego now.
I don't think I'm going to get any free Lego.
Of course you are.
you reckon?
They give it to everyone. Like, you watch some of the shit that the fucking kids watch on what's it? They go, "Thank you, Lego," and they got like 50 views. You'd smash.
Well, Dave,
that.
have you contacted Lego?
Can't be bothered, Matt.
Well,
You're the admin guy. You're supposed to sort that out.
he's just
shit
got
out,
he's
mate.
got no hustle, has he, man? That's the problem.
No.
Supposed to-
Once we're stuff,
Zero
doesn't
hustle.
it?
I'm too big to put the effort in. Thank you very much.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
enjoy your non-Lego.
I'm sure you'll shut the. You watch it, you.
Yeah, so you go to search YouTube for TCGS and you'll find Sean James's old streams, Elden Ring as well from last week. If you're on Amazon Prime, you've got Twitch Prime Gaming, connect your accounts, you get a free sub every month on Twitch. Thank you to everyone's done it tonight. And if you want to do it in the future, go to Twitch, connect your accounts and give us your free sub. We really appreciate it. Patreon.com/TCGS if you want to support what we're doing. Our bonus podcast is out this month, as is the final round of Le Tournoir. Well worth watching. And the website is TCGS for links to our gorgeous Discord, our socials, the other podcasts, Patreon, and our store.
Thank you so much for living it. We will catch you next week for some video game chit chat.
I might have
take it
I might have an
easy.
exclusive reportage from EGX as well.
That's right.
Nice.
Also,
Sean's
are
going to
we
be
all
walking
getting
around
Monkey Island?
EGX this weekend. What days are you there, Sean?
Thursday and Friday.
Right. The most people, like, honestly, please just constantly take photos of him. Don't go up to him. Right? Take covert photos of him and send them to TCGS on Twitter. Just stand from afar. You could go up to him afterwards, whatever. Like, but try and take some covert photos of Sean at EGX and send them to our Twitter feed.
I want to get
please.
papped.
Yeah. At TCGSco on Twitter. Do that.
That's the one.
Are we all bought Monkey Island, by the way?
I haven't yet.
Nah.
I'm going to.
Hold on. Before we get to that, can we come up with a hashtag for that?
Oh, what for the?
If you see just
stalked.
Bell at EGX. So hashtag Bell at EGX. That'll do, wouldn't it?
You should have done Sean Snaps.
Sean Snaps.
Sean Snaps is good.
That's good.
Hashtag Sean Snaps.
Snaps.
Yeah, that's
That's.
SEAN.
I was going to say yeah. We
have that a lot, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
SEANSNAPS. Let's get to EGX this weekend and take loads of photos of that lovely boy. Sorry, Matt, you were talking about.
Have we all bought Monkey Island? Because I've got it ready to go.
I haven't yet, but I am going to.
I'll probably play it. Now's not the right time for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll play that. That might be my Christmas game, actually.
Oh, yeah.
It's out on Switch, isn't it?
It is,
yeah. I've got it, yeah.
That seems like quite a nice Christmas game.
I thought that'd be a midnight release. So I was like, oh, Monday, brilliant. Play some Monkey Island. No, it's a 5 o'clock release, so...
Oh, I've just realised, guys, none of us have talked like a pirate today. Talk like a pirate, Dave. I can't believe we forgot to do that.
I can't believe you're against that. That's all you fucking do is you love your pirates.
I talk about a pirate, not
talk
like
about
one.
one. Davy Jones locker or whatever. Okay, goodbye everyone. We love you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Like Jeb would.